Futures back higher here this morning cautiously, albeit we're up a full percent coming off another huge down day when all was said and done yesterday. We did get that nice bounce into the close for the NASDAQ late in the session, then another little rally late in the aftermarket as well, trying to extend those gains here this morning, again to the tune of about 1%. More Fed speak to come today. A lot of eyes and attention going to be on Fed speakers over the next couple of days with continued back and forth action between Trump and Powell. Nothing to come of that significant yet, but definitely going to be under pressure. Meanwhile, it's Tesla day. Coming up after the close tonight, we'll get quarterly earnings from Tesla. One of the weakest out of the gate yesterday. Again, we get a bit of a bounce late in the session, but looking a little better here this morning, I guess, but long way to go. Obviously, we're all the way down to 230. A couple other interesting movers here this morning. GE Aerospace, which is GE, the ticker, and then 3M as well to the upside in a pretty big way, or at least it was when I looked this morning. Yeah, there it is. Not a lot of volume behind that, but still 7%, better part of 7% here this morning for 3M. So getting into some bigger names on the earnings front. Sharif is back. Good to see you.
Good morning. Yeah, and to build on your point there, Brendo, 3M getting a really good move up, even though they did warn about tariffs and the possible, headwind that the tariffs pose. Nonetheless, the market really absorbing this. Well, Tesla in focus, as you mentioned, as we have that earnings after the bell. So make sure to catch that today. With us on the market recap, K-Web, China strong, Brendo, 2.25 here to start the morning. Walmart, Target, Home Depot, all were in focus yesterday as they all met with President Donald Trump as the tariff headwind continues, and Amazon saying that they might actually go a little bit lighter on AI spend, not looking to cancel any deals, Brendo, but not looking to expand either.
Yeah, not a lot of detail in that, but the first to at least hint at that possibility. On that China front, there's tons of memes floating around still of Donald Trump waiting for Xi to call him, and nothing seems to be coming from that. I was reading an article last night from an analyst, or it wasn't an article, it was just an opinion piece, but what if that doesn't happen? And what if the phone call never does happen? I mean, at some point they want access to that U.S. market, you would think, but it's taking a little bit longer, I think, than he at least was waiting for or hoping for. Anyways, gold, the other big talking point here this morning, we hit 3,500 this morning on gold futures. Anyways, this is just GLD coming back in a little bit here, but still higher once again, guys, for gold.
More all-time highs over there. And there's some earnings things. There was also swath of defense earnings this morning. Raytheon down, Northrop Grumman down, GE Aerospace up, Lockheed Martin up. All thinly traded, but a complete and utter mixed bag. It's like Lockheed beat top and bottom, Northrop missed top and bottom. So you don't even glean anything from those bad boys. But as you said, Tesla day today. A bunch of Fed speakers kind of randomly.
Yeah, 5 of them.
On a Tuesday. It's a busy day for that. But we're back for a lot of things. I don't want to say for everything. For a lot of things, we're kind of back to where we were yesterday. You know, like in NVIDIA's, okay, maybe not exactly there, but I mean, 98, we were at what, like 90? No, we were right here in the pre-market. It was like 98 that we're sitting at. And then it popped into, 99, tried to get to that 100 level. So a lot has come back right into full fold. There were a few late movers that are on the radar because of what they did in yesterday's trade that might not have a catalyst. Like I'm drawn to Nike after that rally that we saw yesterday. Big. There was a V-shaped recovery, but then there was like things that blew it out there. So Nike up 1%, but feel like a little bit of a different 1% for them. Earnings season's in full fold. We go down 3, come back 1. Let's see if there's any sustainment in this rally. But there were some really strong movers at the end of the day yesterday worth paying attention to. Nike's just one of them. There was a few others.
Hey, everybody. I don't really have a good feel on today. I mean, I want to go short, but the market is up. So we're going to try to find, maybe some relative weakness in order to fade some of these pops. I think smart money does that. So we're trying to be in that category today and, looking for names that are bumping up there to short. I mean, as these guys just said, the world is far from getting this figured out. And earnings today, whatever, man. 3M and those companies, I mean, not very exciting. GE, not very exciting. All these defense companies, not very exciting. Everyone wants to trade the big names, and they're just going to be on the radar again here today. SMR was down yesterday. AMD, Apple, all these names. Apple, I think, still underneath that $200 mark. definitely a trade to be looked at there as well. So yeah, there's a bunch happening. Nasdaq up 1%, which is nice. Probably goes red. Not sure how long it will stay up here. We got the clown car of Fed speak today as well. We talked about that. 5 of them rolling out of that car. And we'll just figure out what goes on from there. It's not great rhetoric in the market. All this, let's fire Powell, let's figure that out. That's not great, right? We need some certainty around here. So for me, yeah, Apple up here. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to be looking at the TQs. I don't even have anything written down yet. I've been trying to scan through some names. So there's some movers, again, that we could look at today. I thought GameStop had a nice little move there, up to $27. We'll see what that, I mean, there's no volume again today, but that's been on a nice little run higher as well. Some of the bank earnings are behind them. We could look at that. Amazon and Walmart, in news today a little bit. That's like 170. I mean, it's pretty cheap here. 5 straight down days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have today. So no matter where you bought, basically over this whole first quarter, you're out of the money, on many of these names, even coming into today. So people trying to take profit, we could start to see some sell the rips, but nothing's ripping. So I don't really know what to do here today, but it'll be a fun one regardless. Probably some Bitcoin, 88, almost 89,000.
Bitcoin's still strong.
I mean, so that's a good trade. So yeah, I mean, I'm trying to look for names to put capital in, to make a trade. So like I only trade a couple names. So I want to try to be as specific as possible, get the money in there, see if we can make a little bit here. So yeah, it should be a good one. I don't know, oil, gold, everything. I mean, things are looking good today, but this is looking good. Like we come in the Nasdaq's down 2 or 3%. I hate celebrating 1%. So
every bump has been faded.
You can tell
recently. But there's just some small. You mentioned there's some runners going. So, TIVC seems like it's the one today. Yesterday, you had MLGO that was rallying, and Hertz had a good bounce. They had the whole Ackman thing. TIVC doing pretty solid relative vol on this, 160% to the upside. Just showing you this daily chart because it's done spike, fade, but higher lows for the last couple of months now. So this is at least a little bit interesting. It's kind of giving you the notion that you don't want to chase too hard with it when I look at that daily chart. And not sure the catalyst just yet. I just saw this one pop up on the volume scanner and a bunch of people mentioning it as well. So yeah, there's always going to be some small cappers out there for everybody to trade. There's a couple in the watch list as well for you. But Tesla. We'll talk a lot about Tesla today. And I really hope there's some good news on the call, but I'm not really anticipating it, unfortunately.
Oh, man. Okay. Speaking of banks, I was just keeping an eye on Goldman Sachs here. This was a little bit earlier, but DJ Solomon was making some comments this morning at a conference, trying to, it sounded like anyways, calm the waters a little bit, talking about the markets. It was like, quote unquote, it was a hard time for the markets right now, but by no means a crisis at this stage, and talking things down a little bit. Goldman up here a little bit this morning, but absolutely no volume behind that at this point. Gold continuing to leak back in here a little bit. I saw Rivian was on a scanner here when I first sat down this morning, back higher as well with Tesla this morning. It'll be interesting to see what some of these other, not necessarily EV companies, but just in general, the automotive industry takes from Tesla's report coming up tonight.
Absolutely. It's going to be really important, Brendan. We all know these EV companies move in sympathy with Tesla, especially as gauges for demand for EVs. But I think that there may be a Tesla-specific trade here with a lot of demand destruction that happened since the election. Let's just call a spade a spade. So we're going to have to see exactly how much destruction and where it's localized. Is it all in Europe? How's Canada doing? I can tell you over here, personally, I just see a lot of Teslas sitting on the sideline, not being sold in a way that I haven't before. And I've been visiting these Tesla dealerships for a while now. Just to build on your point here, Brendo, Rivian expanded their board, adding Aidan Gomez as director, so we'll keep an eye out on that. And Goldman Sachs CEO was making comments, I think a few days ago, with respect to the tariffs, calling it self-induced, a possible self-induced recession. The silver lining of that is, if it's self-induced, you can hopefully get your way out of it.
Yeah, he was saying this morning, GDP definitely slowed, but by no means in negative land at this point. So trying to calm the waters again, it seemed like anyways. 2 chip names here to consider this morning. There's AMD up to the point of 0.9%. Intel's about the same, right now, a little bit better, 1% for Intel. Bernstein, both downside price target decreases here for Intel and AMD today.
Yeah, we still don't really know what was going on in the aftermarket with Intel, and it was on volume, and we pulled it up and still couldn't find a story. It went right to, I guess, prior resistance. Oh man, maybe we'll get a shot at that today. Actually, didn't even get to 1940. I thought maybe you had a chance that it got a little bit further. No, didn't even get up there. But there was that late volume spike. It was a good rally in the afternoon, flipping shorts to longs, and then still nothing coming of it. And this is the problem with these stocks. It's sometimes you might just be getting some short covering rallies that'll randomly spike up a little bit, and then it'll trick you into thinking that all of a sudden the stock is looking good. But it's just another one of these bottom feeding type names. I think until proven otherwise, like, it's gotten really consolidative. So it's the kind of name you want to trade in the range when it gets to resistance like 19.5. Short, if it breaks that, wait for 20, that kind of a thing. But you mentioned advanced micro or AMD there. I almost said advanced, whatever. I should have said advanced money destroyer, but I said advanced and then said the wrong thing. Well, it is still destroying money. And I come back to sometimes the stock is showing you where there wants to be liquidity, and you just got to be able to listen. I worked with Bitcoin for sure. And when I look at AMD, 9-0. We ended the week last week, back-to-back days, gap down, and then failed the $90 level. And then you go back to when it was trading there previously. You had a ramp, you had a fade, you had consolidation galore on it, and then go back even further, just look at it underneath the 90 level. It kind of is running away from that price. When it breaks out big. When it fails, it shows resistance. So yeah, AMD on the precipitous downward trend here. I think today's level that you look for is at 90. I don't know if it has enough strength to get there. It seems to me like Nvidia's $2 away from 100, and AMD is at 86, so it's a little bit further away from the fade zone, at least for myself. That could come into play tomorrow. You never really know. But yeah, I still am thinking pop and fade on these semis.
Yeah, so I wrote down AMD. I'm going to be a little more aggressive on that call. I'm going to $88, so I'm going to short it right into here, 88 to 88.50. So we'll go back to Thursday's levels. I'll be out of that. So I'm going to fade AMD. I mean, it's too bad I have to clear up this wick here. Right into this area, $88. So this is Thursday's levels. If we get up to 90, then we got to get all the way back to Wednesday, which could happen. And if it does, we'll be there to short it as well. But I'm going to be shorting much earlier than that, in and around here, 88 to 88.50. And then we'll have our Spidey sense up and ready to go to trade that as well. Because like yesterday's big hitter was NVIDIA. And we had looked at $100 to $101 yesterday. And we actually just were like, forget about it. We got to get aggressive and we got to start to trade. So we shorted right away off the open, which was 99 and change. So we didn't wait for our $100 level. It didn't come. So it gave us a top there. If I can see a top in any of these big names, then I'm playing the short. I'm playing the short today, despite it being up. So that's the one thing that I'm getting, be a little bit of hands off early to make sure that we do get some kind of a top there in these names. But AMD, a little underperforming. I'll deal with Intel when I need to. I mean, like I said, this is a name that I can really make the whole day in one trade. Right? And I mean, we could do that on any stock. And I think that right now, Intel just not really setting up for that play. If we break through 1880, which would be this level right here from yesterday morning, then I think that short would be activated. So in and around 1880 or so for Intel on the short, not playing any pop and fades on this one. If it wants to go, it can go. That's fine. I get caught up in this because I put on too many shares because it's only a $20 name. So we're going to wait for that to break down through. Maybe it's 1890. Or so, but I like the 1880 level, which is that bottom right here. So I think I'm going to add this to the sticky note right now, actually. 1880 breakdown on Intel. So fade the pop of AMD at $88 and look to get Intel at that 1880 short mark. So that's what we're going to be doing on that side. And then, Palantir is always a stock to trade. We've been trading that for a while. And this is a stock that's actually doing still quite well this year, considering what we've seen out of the market. Palantir from the first of the year is right here, $78, $80 up to 92. So, the real winner this year as far as the tech and some of these high-flying names is going to be Palantir. up 10+%, which is amazing. Similar, I think Netflix is maybe still double digits, but I'm not sure. Palantir is a good one. And then, a day 3 play maybe, and we talked about this, letting it settle down. We have Netflix right now. This is actually be day 2 for Netflix because we had that day off. But this is another one here that's still doing well, holding out pretty good. I still like the short on this name, but if we are going to be up today and we do get an opportunity to look again at 975, I like that. So, Palantir, again, dip buy opportunities will be there for Palantir. It was great yesterday, especially in the afternoon. We took that $1.50 or whatever off that bottom. But you see what I'm saying right here? This is why you don't have to get too excited. If you're going to trade and every trade where you put on, you have an opportunity to make money. So you got to wait for those money-making opportunities. And yesterday afternoon, we found one right there with Palantir, and it ripped into the close, which is a pretty nice trade there. So, we don't know where they're going to come from, but I am excited. I think it's going to be a really slow day today in the market.
Inside day.
We were talking about Chinese ADRs to kick things off here this morning, 3.5% here. It's one of those days, I think, the guys were just hinting at this more or less. It's one of those days where it might be a little bit tough to get a feel for any kind of directional movement. But, if you're looking for all kinds of strength, here's Alibaba so far this morning up, as I said, 3.6%. That's really it, though. JD 0.4 to the downside. PDD also 2.5%. So it's kind of all over the place. But as far as directional movement goes, you got to look at these. There's Xpeng 3.2 as well at this point.
Yeah, there was overnight talk in China, Brendo, about the yen and how it should be used. The People's Bank of China basically trying to encourage local trade to settle in the yuan as opposed to using the U.S. dollar. So the offshore yuan weakened about to $7.31 due to the renewed U.S.-China trade tensions. Also, sentiment weighed by China, a warning as a possible retaliation to any upcoming or undermining U.S. trade deals. So we'll have to keep an eye out on that. But as you mentioned, 3.25% here in the pre-market. Good luck for Baba.
Yeah, when the market is just kind of grinding away here so far. Worth keeping an eye on here, guys, for Chinese stocks, but not much behind that.
Not really. Okay, so patriotic retail buying, helping out a little bit there, and we'll see how much that can actually continue. It was light-ish volume just compared to last week in the overnight over on Blue Ocean, but at least, look, 115.5 is the overnight highs going into last week. We didn't breach that, and then kind of coming right and looking at our markets in here, and you've got a 116 top. The 115.5 to 116, setting up as a resistance level. It didn't make the top of the list for me, but yeah, I think if it gets up there, if it's breaking out 116, I suppose that's, you got to let it go. That's you're breaking out that big top. But with Blue Ocean setting up there overnight multiple times, stalling at 116, and you see it stall at 116 here, I don't see why not looking for this as a pop and fade. Been skeptical on any of these bounces for the Chinese ADRs, and especially on light volume here. And you've made a good bounce. I'm not looking to get back into any Alibaba shares that I sold. I thought maybe we would be retesting back in the 80s or so, where this has seemed to have found a home. A lot of times, I think it's a great sign that this is following through, but I'm still a little skeptical. I think 116 would be a fade here on Alibaba. Haven't looked at the other names, because Baba's the one that I always chart every day, but yeah, a little skeptical of that move based on pretty much, I think, a weak to no catalyst.
Yeah, I don't like any of these Chinese names, really. I think you're just kind of throwing darts at them. But, low bids are great. Alibaba's gone from 98 to 114. So, whether or not you like it or not, it's been a great stock. FXI up 2.5%. As far as an ETF is concerned, boom, goes a dynamite right there. Nice move here higher. I still want to short underneath this 50-period moving average. So for me, FXI is getting into that level. We talked actually about looking to buy this down there. It just turns out that was a great look off of that level, but you had to have bought it when everything was bleeding. So I look to fade it right here. Again, a lot of euphoria there, bouncing through these levels. We had that top. So I think anything around this 34, 35 marker there for FXI would be a short. We're probably not going to get there today. We always talk about some EV names. This was down there sub $3 at one point for NIO. Nice little bounce up there, right there. So we had gotten, well, maybe, yeah, basically sub $3 or right there, up to 33.60 now. So again, a 20% move up in this name, like little undercover move there. Like if you're able to buy that bottom, you know, you got, I mean, let's just say you even get it at 310, still 60 cents on $3, right? You'll take that 20% or so. So nice move there for NIO as well. It doesn't have too many crazy movements, but if you just look at yesterday's, once you find where it's basing, again, like we opened up lower, then we started making that move, and then it just based here around 350. So if you can find these levels and able to get filled and, you know, have enough patience to take a bunch of shares and only take like maybe 2 pennies, then I think NIO is probably something that's on your radar and here for the long. And the long in the Chinese space is okay right now, especially with FXI up 2.5%. So yeah, take the longs. I like everything we're seeing on China, and especially, I mean, you already talked about Alibaba. PDD, a name that, you know, $100, trying to look at this level as well, watching to see if there is going to be any action in and around that $100 level. And if you look at a daily chart, we've bounced right, you know, we cracked through it. We made that high near that $100 mark. That was 99. And I don't know, I think this could also be a decent bottom here as well. Now that I look at this and zoom this back out a little bit, right into here, $94 for PDD, up another 2.5%. So if you can get some of these levels, 92, 93, 94, I think that's pretty good. There hasn't been, like, despite everything that's been happening in the market, obviously we have, you know, very, very roller coastery on this name, but how many days have we actually spent underneath this level right here that I'm showing? Like, you know, couple right here, those are just wicks, so maybe not even closed. We closed one day basically under $92. So any dips in PDD into that area, we should have been looking at it yesterday. There's that 92 yesterday, boom. So yeah, some of these names seem like they want to start going back there to the upside, but I haven't added any to the watch list yet, these Chinese names. If PDD gets down to 92, I think it's a good buy.
Lots of analyst moves this morning. We'll get a few here coming up from Darren in a couple of seconds. But we mentioned both the AMD and Intel angle. Again, both are higher, but a bit of a cautious note there or from Bernstein on those. Amazon also mentioned this morning. I mean, as far as, I mean, the guys are kind of hinting at the simple fact that it could be a bit of a cautious day ahead of some of the bigger earnings starting to come through. Tesla tonight, and then we'll get into a few bigger names coming up over the next few weeks here.
Absolutely, Brendo. It's going to set the tone for the Mag 7. I know specifically, obviously, that they have the EV exposure. There was obviously the Elon Musk headwind that we have to account for that may not be present with other Mag 7 names, but it's really going to set the tone. I mean, if we get deliveries that substantially miss, if he's not positive about the future of Tesla on the earnings call, I think we're going to see a big down move here. What I was actually reading this morning was supposedly he's going to set a positive tone. He's going to, you know, kind of try to put to bed some of the rumors that the Model 2 or the Model Q might be pushed back to next year or the later half of this year. Because remember, we were talking about second quarter or second half, excuse me, of this year. We're supposed to start seeing Model 2 deliveries, and we haven't even seen what this thing looks like yet. Yeah. And we're starting off already on Q2, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, a lot to know coming up tonight with earnings. Let's go over to Adara, get some analyst moves this morning.
Lots of big names on both sides of the aisle here today. We're going to start with CoreWeave, getting some analyst coverage initiated following its IPO late March. We have Stifel here with a $55 price target. Eli Lilly had a pretty big day here on Thursday, getting an upgrade or initiated coverage here today by Cantor Fitzgerald. United Airlines here getting an upgrade from TD Cowen, and AbbVie being upgraded by Cantor Fitzgerald ahead of its earnings on Friday. Then we have Apple actually up on the day as of all of these downgrades, but getting a downgrade here from China Renaissance. Amgen with a downgrade from Cantor Fitzgerald. DraftKings getting downgraded here by BTIG Research. And last but not least, Starbucks with a Wells Fargo downgrade, up more than 1% right now, guys.
Well, I like that Apple short at 200, but it's not because of a downgrade by I missed the analyst. It was China something was downgrading it, which...
Who knows?
I mean, like that's, yeah, okay, what are they? They probably didn't upgrade anybody in the last couple of months in the U.S. markets. I'm just throwing that out there, just based on the name of the analyst. But you never really know. That said, 200, with the market going higher, with the market going higher, we're still actually, over that 1% on the NASDAQ. You start to look at the resistance spots, right? So we had 200 on Friday, and You had the close on Thursday just barely above it in the accumulation zone. You've seen it reject off this level multiple times. So gets up there, looking short Apple. Upgrade, downgrade, that doesn't necessarily matter. I think we all know it's the exposure to China. It's the lack of a deal getting done. Hey, I think every day that there isn't bad news, sometimes you get a little bit of a relief rally, but until we actually get the real good news, I want to continue shorting the pops on Apple. Yeah, if we get to that 200 level, fade.
We saw XBI. We talked about this the other day, and then today we get Eli Lilly with an upgrade, or we get V there as well. So I was looking at this ETF and thinking, like, yeah, maybe this is one to go. $77, $77.35 right there. Again, some garbage down here near 70. You've had to put up some pain. I think this name could go. I do like it. ABBV, ABV. There it is right there. You know, a name that we don't trade too heavily on the show, but up 0.23, that doesn't look too exciting to me, actually, and this name has been getting crushed to the downside as they continue to go a little bit lower. And then SBUX on the downgrade side, I think that makes a little bit of sense. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, and again, like, I was actively making this call up here saying that this is a short, and there goes Starbucks. So it's like, I'm not in it. Don't have any shares or anything, but like that short right there that we were talking about for weeks and weeks, there it goes to the upside as it was starting to ramp higher. And then when it slowed down is when we started to look at that, and that's giving you a nice trade from 116, 112 all the way back in here to $80. So if Starbucks is going to be a downgrade, I'm looking to pick something up if it does get into this 72, 74 area. But yeah, I'm nervous about this company. I mean, if there is no deal, this is a big China-based story too, right? Obviously. So if there's no deal coming through anytime soon, I don't know. I mean, I look at some of those embargoes and whatnot that's happened to Russia and things like that. Companies pulling out. None of these companies are going to pull out of China. It's too big of a market. But at the end of the day, it could be one of those stories that Starbucks has more room to move just because lack of, I don't know, national, like, I don't know, people that are in China obviously won't be able to watch the show on YouTube unless they have a workaround. But I mean, you tell me. I think there's a Luckin Coffee. There's some different opportunities there. And I just wonder if the American, I don't want to say hatred, but preferring maybe, I know here in Canada, we're preferring to shop in Canadian places. Like now you go to the grocery stores, all the food have Canadian labels on them. That wasn't like that before. So definitely the tides have shifted around. And I know Starbucks is getting a lot less love around these places as well right now. So I would say you got to watch out for $70 to $72 right now for Starbucks. And I think that's a decent buy, but you got to go down about another 10% from here. So that would put the S&P 500 at a great level as well. So yeah, Hawthorne's as well there, apparently says Hamster. So yeah, a lot of opportunity, especially in the coffee space. It's not a hard thing to wrap your head around, you know, a coffee shop. So, you know, lots of opportunities there. Starbucks, I think, is in trouble. It's a decent downgrade. And if you're still short from that 112, then congratulations.
Oh, Bitcoin just broke 89,000.
Boom.
So like that continues, Bitcoin just continues strength. It actually just took out that, it was 88.88, whatever, was a local high. Yeah, great continuation play. It was gapped up. When the market was weak, it gave multiple longs here in Bitcoin. So yeah, 89,000 in the rear view. Let's maybe take a quick look at that on the higher time frame, just so you can see, like the 88,000 was a bit of resistance. I'm looking at IBIT today actually for some longs. Might have to adjust because I liked 49.75 on IBIT for a dip buy. Yeah, that's not seeming as likely now. Might pivot to just try to take the 50 or the pre-market yesterday's highs to play off of, but still bullish on Bitcoin. That has performed relatively well. I don't want to say really well because it's still stuck in a bit of a range, but in terms of intraday, it's been performing relatively well with some good bounce plays available here in IBIT, especially making that low yesterday at 49 was pretty good. I guess we're not going to revisit that, unfortunately, but fortunately, we're up a couple points.
All right, a couple minutes before 8 o'clock here. A number of things to get into as far as the watch list is concerned. If you haven't done so, make sure you grab that every single day. Absolutely free. We'll talk about it in a second here. Sharif's going to lead us off with a look at the overall market.
51.87, Brendo. Below that 5,200 is the closing print yesterday on the ES June contract. Above it nicely right now at that 52, looks like 20, with the overnight high being that 52.54. So we're going to use the overnight high as resistance. 52.50 will be our resistance level. If we continue to sell off, we'll look to that first 5,200 point area as support. If we continue to sell off, we're looking at yesterday's closing print 51.87 as our last line of support.
If you haven't done so, make sure, as I mentioned, you jump down to the description. Top link in the description will get you to that page. All you need is your email address, and then you can have the watch list sent right to your inbox every single day. It's absolutely free, so why not? Has everything that's moving around in the pre-market, a little bit on why, and free, if I didn't mention that. Let's go. Crypto, as we were saying, bit of a decoupling happening with equity markets. Mr. Noss was here yesterday talking a little bit about that. Here is all kinds of relative strength once again today. I mean, continuing 1.9% here for IBIT, back above 50-50.
This look over here is not as good as the chart on Fartcoin, but it's not bad at all. Bitcoin, 1.18% yesterday. We're knocking the door, Brendo, of that $90,000 technical area of resistance. The intraday high yesterday is about 88.8. Ethereum, however, did not participate in that move up. It lost 2.56%, dropping down to 1574, underperforming despite the broader market enthusiasm. Trading volumes did surge, though, 98% yesterday to about 38.64 billion, which could signal the renewed market participation after weeks of sideways action. Yesterday as well, the swearing in of Paul Atkins as the SEC chair, widely seen as pro-crypto. Atkins previously stated that developing a regulatory framework for digital assets would be the top priority, and the crypto fear and greed index moved down to neutral from extreme fear, Brendo. So possibly maybe a bit of a move here. And total liquidations yesterday, $270 million occurred in the last 24 hours, and even split between longs and shorts.
I was going to highlight that volume note that you were making there. If you just jump back to, this is a 15-minute chart, but pretty good look here. Jump back to yesterday, just massive, massive volume after the gap higher for IBIT. So as you were saying, right across the board for ETFs, a lot of people getting back into the game, guys.
Yeah, well, you know what? What's been great about Bitcoin is the last couple of days, as we said, like you finally got this moment, or it's happened before, but you finally got this moment in this cycle where we're getting some strength, and it's like you're getting some inflows before the market's going, so it's not just straight up following all of the risk assets, but you got to take a step back. We already looked at IBIT on the 15 minutes, so I'm not going to go ahead and rehash that. But if you do look at the daily on Bitcoin, like that prior breakout that everyone was so excited about when we got in 2024, was fantastic. We made the top, we ranged, we then made a new range, testing the prior high. Well, where are we headed? It was about 91.5, 92 that was most of the support for that move, for that top end of the range when we were holding over 100K for a bit. Well, that seems like it's a resistance now. Now that we've tested the bottom, I think we have a good chance of testing, not today necessarily, but that 91, 92 and play trend into it. It's not going to surprise me one bit unless something drastically changes in the world here. If we do find selling and resistance when you get to the top end of the range. That's just how it's been. So when I see something which is in a consolidative stage, then I expect it to, find resistance somewhere in the 92 range. But right now, it's absolutely flying. I mean, IBIT is continuing to go here. I have to think pull back into prior high first. And the prior high is going to end up being right in and around this pre-market support area on IBIT at about 50 1/3. So instead of 49.75, which I was looking for, dips into 49.75, kind of like we were looking for the dip into 49 yesterday, you're going to have to look at the prior highs instead on IBIT.
I was looking here at Ripple. People keep saying that Ripple's about to bounce or to go up from at least from this level of $2. So here we go. XRP in the building here today. I mean, if we can get through this 210 level, Fabian or Ramin or whoever's over there, that would be a decent spot right into here to think about, buying this. Here's the 200 period moving average. This is a daily chart, so we've really liked that on stocks, and it looks like it holds right there at 182. So we talk about, higher opportunities right now. We're just talking like Bitcoin, Neil's saying 92 might be the top. That's 2% from here. If you're looking at XRP, you know, the move higher could be something else. Like if you get from $2.10, the next sort of area looks like 260. You know, so if you can get into that area, I mean, even this 245 is still a decent return of 15 or 20%, 30 cents on 210. Yeah, 15% or so into that level, let alone where you get there 20% and then higher, $3, 320, 340, so on and so forth. So for crypto to get back to all-time high, sure, it'd be great to get back to that 109. But if that does happen, then I wonder where Ripple eventually goes as well. And then we have, of course, Solana. Right here. So we can have a quick look at what these guys look like. And again, another beat up name. I mean, some of these names that are smart contracts have been getting hit, right? Solana, Ethereum, we've seen all that. Is anyone actually building on these things? I think yes. And it's just a matter of time before we hear about some more projects. I still think you want to, you know, buy some of these when we're low, trade it off when we rip, because like this move goes from 106 up to 140. So that's a 30% move in 2 weeks on Solana if you got the bottom, right? We didn't see that in Bitcoin. So at some point, there's more relative strength in these names if the king starts to go. So I wonder about buying some of these breakouts, selling them up here if they want to go, then turning that money over to BTC, you know, once you actually get going. So again, it looks like we're breaking out. We're trying to take that 200, but as you can see, it's been super choppy. So your money's been pretty dead in here for a while, but at least it's not a tariff trade. And I mean, that's the other thing about Bitcoin. I can't really wrap my head around how that would be affecting with any of this tariff talk other than global uncertainty, which would be bad, of course, for many markets. But maybe that's a good thing for crypto, right? I mean, if we have all these central banks all in flux like we currently do right now, like what is USA all of a sudden Turkey? I would just say you got to wait for crypto to fall back in a little bit, but it's breaking out. So that seems to be the right trade. This is a great level, $50.35. We've been sort of sitting there all morning before this recent bump. So I'd say give this a little bit of time here. Crypto could fall. I mean, we saw a nice move there yesterday before it bounced right back up. So look for a similar move. And if we can get it back into the 50 to 50.25 area, I like crypto. And MSTR, people there, thank you for the chat. Thank you, Randy, for the coffee. MSTR right here. Swoldemort.
We're good.
So what's up, Swoldemort? I bid in MSTR option shades have stacked stacks of sold call positions in the 92. Yeah, we talked about that. Momentum looks spicy if it starts to press over 90. Yeah, so it is getting going right there. But again, all that's nice talk. Let's see if we can put some trades on and actually make some money today in crypto.
Ding, ding.
Yeah.
GE and 3M here, pretty big moves in the pre-market. 5% here for 3M. Not a lot of volume behind this, but was up more than 7 at the highs on an earnings beat. GE looking pretty good here as well. 4.5% just took out the highs. You just found an interesting data point there.
I did, Brendo. It's a good look here. So Neil was asking me earlier, he's like, hey, what's going on with these defensive stocks? And we didn't really have an answer, and we have one now. So looks like GE missed their defense and propulsion breakdown for their segment. It was a $2.32 billion in revenue that they actually printed. The street was looking for 2.42, so a miss there. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one, Neil. Now, with respect to 3M, if we can show the chart, please. Revenue, $5.95 billion. That's a drop of 1% year over year, Brendo, but that still beat estimates. Adjusted EPS, $1.88, also beat handily that $1.77 the street was looking for. Adjusted free cash flow, about $500 million. Yeah, $500 million. Cash from operations declined by about $100 million, and they returned about $1.7 billion to shareholders via dividends and buybacks. They did warn, though, that the tariffs could absolutely reduce 2025 earnings by about 20 to 40 cents per share, and the new full-year EPS guide, 760 to 790. Wall Street consensus, Brendo, 775.
I was in a grocery store the other day. Funny story. Back of my car is full of those cloth grocery bags.
Okay.
I was in a store the other day. Just had to run in and grab something. Obviously, I didn't have one of them with me, so had to buy it back.
To buy another one.
3M on the bottom of it. So even in the grocery bag game is 3M.
Oh boy.
I like GE better than 3M when you look at these charts. I'll tell you that much. I don't think either one of these gets traded today, but 3M does look like it has a flat bottom breaking coming on the daily, at least. For anyone that happens to be looking at it, if you own it, be wary of if 110, 20 breaks, that looks pretty dire. It's up 6 points today, I guess, bouncing off of the one key level that it has left, which is at 120. GM just looks a little better on the chart. It was a mixed bag for those. Like Lockheed, like I said, like Lockheed up, GE up, Northrop down, and Raytheon down. So like a complete mixed bag out of those names. But a little bit better looking of an upward trend in GE. Candidly, I own GE shares from like years and from long time ago, so throughout the spinoff. But yeah, they look pretty constructive in here. I don't think I trade it, but if you break 190 after earnings, that would look pretty good to me. But 3M's chart, even though it's up today, that didn't look very good.
Randy, Boeing is going right now. So I don't know what's going on with Boeing, but there's a nice little move there up to 165. So I'd rather own this one than all the other ones, I think. Boeing, we'll see what winds up happening through 166. If we can get that break, we have the 200 period right there. We don't have many stocks that are near the 200 period. So we're going to try to see if we can break that back to the upside right now, as Boeing had a huge move down. And then I think, some of the green shoots could happen where China maybe steps in, takes back their stance, starts buying some more Boeing planes, and maybe there can be some agreement there. So I'll look to see Boeing. I like that trade. I think you do have a nice little base here of 160 or so. See if we can hold some of those levels and start to going back up to the upside. So there goes Boeing. We were just at 160, so we'll see if we can pull back into that. But it's a nice move up right there for Boeing. So, GE Vernova is another play that could go upside as well. But there goes Boeing right there today. Nice move. It is, Randy. It is indeed flying. So fly to the high to the upside right now goes Boeing. I like a 160. If we can get back into this level right there today, we'll take some Boeing shares and see if they go higher rather than drop down. So Boeing down, up now 3%. Like to see it come back in, and then we'll look at that long. Maybe we have to get this 161, 162, but obviously some sort of a story right here or something for Boeing that's just hit in the last 10 minutes or so.
All right, Tesla, the big one, going to be on everyone's mind. Maybe not throughout the day, but coming up definitely after the close. 1.5% here, a nice bounce back after a horrible day yesterday. This was clearly one of the weakest. As soon as we sat down here, even in the pre-market, this thing was just going straight down. I mean, we closed Friday or Thursday, I guess it was 241.5. So a long way to go just to get back to that point.
The blood continues, Brendo. Falling almost 6% yesterday in open trading, closing down $227.50. That's just above the year's low, guys. Doesn't matter, though. It's down 44% year to date, and Monday yesterday marked the 12th day this year that the stock has dropped 5% or more. So volatility is its middle name. Tesla's deliveries dropped, if you forgot, 13% year over year back in Q1, about 337,000 vehicles, a little bit less than that. Revenue expected this time around to dip to $21.25 billion, with earnings per share slated to be about 40 cents. Analysts are citing rising competition in China, obviously, and growing nationalist sentiment out there. Trump's tariffs could also worsen the China sales and hurt profit margins, and potential pricing pressure if Tesla is forced to export more out of China. So we'll have to wait and see exactly how that all works out, but very critical.
Yeah, I mean, no pressure, Elon.
No,
no pressure at all. It'll be interesting to see how much he talks about the robotic side and everything to do with AI as well. And don't look over here, look over here.
Exactly what people are predicting, Brendo, for him to set a more optimistic tone, because the numbers are not going to be that good.
Yeah, we shall see, you guys. What do we do here today?
Well, I mean, I think it's safe is not the word, but when it gets to the low 220s, I think that's shown it's a bit of a buy zone for Tesla. It's so much more inside than anything else. You could easily get back to, like yesterday, I kind of had initially 237 as a level. It never got anywhere close, unfortunately, to that. So just kind of pivoted with an early pop and fade. But it's trending so decently, so well, I should say, really, in the pre-market, that maybe you get that kind of a level to fade in here. Unless it's trading down at 220, I don't know that I would want it long. Today, going into those earnings, we already talked about the names that I want to look. I want to look at Nvidia, Bitcoin, super strong in here today, and Nike kind of came out of nowhere yesterday. That's going to be in play. You're looking at names like Alibaba out there with the Chinese names. So on earnings, unless it's trading off of the big level, I don't know if I want to take a gander. But I did want to short 237.5 yesterday. So there's always a chance if it goes really ham today and we see 5-6 points up, then I'd be shorting that top. I think Elon's got to come out. And while I want to hear all about robotics and I want to hear about I want to hear about the automated driving and some better timelines for that. But at the end of the day, the market wants to know when his focus is going to be back. So it's like a reassurance thing that also has to happen. It's just a crazy juggling act that they're going to have to try to pull off to get out of the sentiment problem that the stock has. So if we get a bounce off 220 again, didn't look there long yesterday, only went short, probably should be looking at longs off that 220 because it just keeps bouncing off the same.
All right, yeah, for me, it's to stay away. So I'm going to wait. I mean, you could, I mean, well, maybe we should swing trade it. I mean, it's up more than the market right now. The market's really starting to pop. This was that nervous energy that I had earlier where I was like, I don't know, man, the market looks like it wants to go, but I don't really believe in it. But Tesla, if you believe in the name and you think it's going to have a great quarter, then yeah, you're definitely going to miss the boat because right now there's so much negativity in this name that I really think that if you believe in the stock, you should buy the stock. And I think you should buy a little bit of it before the earnings. I just don't really believe in it right now. I think you are due for a down push there. I can't really think about what that next story is going to be for them. I mean, we've covered it. I mean, I can name them all. It's just, I don't know if it's going to be enough to sort of outlast whatever possible guide they give. There's no way they're going to be able to, we just talked about this yesterday with the Model Y. And again, I'm not worried about the Model Y. I mean, they've sold out the Juniper. It's that cheaper model that they delayed, which why would you roll out a cheaper model if you're making more money on the bigger one? But at the end of the day, I think you have this 220, as Neil said. You're not going to get close to that in today's trade, so forget about it. So what you're looking for right now is, I think, if you're looking to spend whatever percent, whatever dollar amount you're looking at, I'd say you can go in right now and buy 10%. If you think it's going to be again, if you like the stock and you think there's something coming, whenever there's blood in the streets, seems to be when you get the biggest moves. So Tesla, the fear is a surprise to the upside, right? And if that does happen, how many shorts are going to get caught off guard? A lot. So that's going to create false price movements all the way back up there to the top as shorts get squeezed. And we all know what happens when people feel that Tesla's being manipulated. It just gets manipulated more. So they'll come in, they'll buy the calls, and this thing will absolutely rip all the shorts' faces completely off. So I would say that I'd put that at a pretty decent possibility, 40, 50%, that tomorrow this name's up like 15%. So that's, I think Tesla has a great opportunity today to really burn a lot of the shorts, and I would be surprised if it does that. So let's wait to see. If you're looking to buy the stock, I think dip in a little bit, but definitely understand that, the headwinds just, in my opinion, far outweigh these tailwinds. At any time, though, throughout today's trade or anything like that, any news about tariffs or any deal with China or anything like that, I mean, Tesla will absolutely rock it. So if you're short into the print, good luck. I think that's the fear, is being short into today's report.
All right, a couple of semiconductor names back to the upside here this morning as well. 1.2% right now for AMD, Intel, looking about the same, both with cautious, I guess the best way to put it, notes from Bernstein, price target cuts here for both. Dare I say, this is the 15-minute chart, dare I say it's looking a little bit basey at the bottom?
I hope so, for its sake. So let's talk about what happened here with AMD, the downgrade. I didn't get a chance to look at the Intel one, but I can't imagine there's too much of a difference. So Bernstein analysts maintained the market perform rating on AMD, but did reduce the price target down from 125 to 95, reflecting caution on future earnings. The stock has dropped, guys, 44% in the last 6 months, so it's a bit of a tough look there. Some of the key challenges that are being cited here by Bernstein: PC market softness and the channel effects impacting their core business. Obviously, new U.S. listing requirements now with the Trump administration for selling these AI accelerators to China, and the Xilinx technology acquisition. That's going to add about $150 million in new annual operating costs, Brendo. Unclear how much it's going to bring in terms of revenue.
Yeah, we'll see how this group does today. If we're going to get a bounce, going to need these, I feel, guys, to participate.
Oh, we need NVIDIA to participate more than we need Intel and AMD, I do think. Hey, man, there was a time when Intel would move the market. That time has come and it's gone, and it's been gone for quite a while. We did go over this at least a little bit briefly. Look, I like I like a further level on AMD. I know Sean probably likes it a little bit closer. So, I like 90 if it gets in there. Just double top from Thursday and Friday. Intel can be a different story. However, like that double top you see on AMD, you got 19.5 over there on Intel. It was unusually strong in the afternoon yesterday, so that's a bit of a caution. It's the only level that I'm looking at for sure in the stock today, because it is getting, it's doing another compression pattern down here, where usually if you see a stock do this kind of compression and bounce off these levels, you're just signaling that the sellers are like, whatever, and then the buyers someone might be accumulating stock here. And kind of liking it for a bottom. It just doesn't really fall as rapidly when it's underneath 20 bucks. So you got to let it get to the right level to short, and it's approaching a trend break. But remember, they report on Thursday, so I don't think this is like, hey, let's swing into Intel before they probably give us a little bit of bad news on Thursday. I think if it holds the low on Thursday, you probably have a nice rebound play for sure there. So yeah, I mean, I got Intel on the radar because we look at it almost every single day. It's at 19.5.
All right, so again, I have a couple more aggressive targets for these names. I have AMD here, short 88 to 88.50. I have Intel short 1880. So if you go over there on the sticky note, I'll explain why. INTC, I'll tell you right now anyways. Here's INTC. So yeah, I mean, like I said, if we pop anywhere, I want to be shorting those names as well. So we'll look there, but a little bit more of an aggressive play. What about this 1880, which is right here? It's right where we closed yesterday. Not only that, I was looking at this consolidation level right there as well, where we bounced around and then whoops, we lost it. So for me, a break down below these levels would be under the 200 period. Then we can use 19 as support. Or as resistance on the way back out, support for our trade, and then 1880. So that break down there for Intel, I think it gets you into that trade real early if it does happen. I mean, worth the shot. I think you short that 1880 and you use 19 as your out. It's 20 cents worth of risk. I mean, this is what I'm doing. You're not going to be able to take a decent position and not give yourselves a little bit more of an aggressive out, right? So I'm going to have to look to see VWAP if it goes down, and I think that 1880 break, if we're right, gets us into this 40 area. And if the market does bleed the rest of the day, then no one's going to come in and buy Intel. So we'll see if that can get down there. I like that trade, but I think I prefer AMD. Like I said, the biggest trade of the day yesterday happened at 9:34 or whatever it was with that short on NVIDIA, right? And so we could do something similar here to AMD. And what I written down there was 88, but we need to get bumped up into there because that would be, I got to use this chart. I still got to get rid of that wick there. That would be Thursdays. So this is yesterday. So we're looking at Thursday's levels where we couldn't get above, right? So there's 88 right there. Anything into here is 88.50. And then if you want to hold to 89, that's a problem because I think the next high looks to be 90 to 90.50. So I'm not going to be putting on some decent positions and holding this $1.50 against me because if the market wants to rip, then it is going to be led by these guys. I feel like, anyways, the chip space. So we'll wait to see if we can get that 88 level, and we'll try it, but we won't try it for very long. We'll deal with our stop once we're in, but I'm thinking 88 to 88.50 is probably right, and then maybe using, 89 just doesn't look huge. I think you almost have to go to 89.50 right there. So either way, hopefully we're short, and we're short around the average price of 88.50 to hold that $1. I think that could be a monster trade, and I know that's what we're all looking for.
All right, let's wrap things up here with gold coming back in here. Still positive on the morning to the tune of about 0.5%. That's GLD. Gold itself touching 3,500 early on this morning. New all-time high. Seems like every day, new all-time high. Worth noting, great guest coming up this afternoon, 2:30 this afternoon. We're going to have the CEO and chairman of McFarland Lake Mining. He's going to talk a little bit about the junior space specifically. A lot of people with maybe some cautious approach to gold itself right now, but a lot of opportunity in the junior space and what to look for junior mining companies right now.
It's a good look. It's kind of hard to do wrong right now with central banks buying aggressively, Brendo. Gold, that is. So central banks from emerging markets apparently are buying this hand over fist. It also helps that the U.S. dollar has gotten weak as of late, and rate cut expectations now that there is the fight in public between Donald Trump and Fed Chair Powell. Just to give you guys an idea, so gold did make all-time highs from a notional sense, but inflation-adjusted all-time highs still still go back to January 21st, 1980, when it traded at the very, very high price of $850. So if you do the math using a 3% inflation adjusted rate, we're very close. About 30, depends on what article you're reading, 3,600 to 3,575 would be a new inflation adjusted all-time.
A lot of targets above 4,000 at this point. So more to come potentially here, guys, for gold.
Yeah, that's actually a great point by Sharif, because if you look at what a lot of people run to gold for, those are types of levels that I think people would be paying attention to. Today, with the market strong, you're kind of slightly trending down on GLD. I mean, it just bounced a couple of bucks here from some of those lows. So I think on any kind of a pullback, there was a wath of buyers at 314 on GLD. But I've also been sort of eyeballing GDX a little bit here. And one of the reasons for it is it's relatively weak compared to gold. And since we've made that fresh high, it has yet to break out. So if gold continues this little bit of a pullback, GDX at that, if it was 51, it's like 50 half into 51. That's that support level. If you look at it, it's more of like a support range. Like it gets down in there. There's a lot of accumulation on GDX in that price. It bounced off, didn't quite get to the lows yesterday, but a little bit of a bounce when it got to that 51. I think that's what I'd look at. You can sort of look at gold. It gets you a little bit. GLD gives you a little bit of a sort of a futures play with it, where you can have a leading indicator at least a little bit. But yeah, that's the level that I would look to trade off of on GDX. Been eyeballing that since last week. We just had the imbalances come out. It's 9:25, right? So there's still some time to go, but we just had some of the imbalances hit. There's always this penny stock DMN that's in there, but very, very light otherwise. You're talking 250,000 buy on NVIDIA is the biggest name. I mean, NEO's there, but 260,000 on a $3 stock is absolutely nothing. So really very, very light here on the imbalance locator. Not expecting the same fireworks. There's no major headline this morning. Obviously, we know that can change at any single moment. Any truth could come out at any point, and obviously tonight with the earnings. But for now, pretty quiet. Even NVIDIA barely bouncing. It went like 20 cents on that tiny buy and bounce.
All right. I got to fill out my team snap here. Okay, so we've been talking about, I'll do it after. We've been talking about gold for a minute, right? So it's nice to see that all the way to the upside there. Yeah, Bitcoin, gold. I mean, maybe look, I don't really, silver's not really seen as the same sort of, flight to safety for that. But I mean, if you do like to hold something in your hand and you think that that is relatively important, then yeah, silver might be something as well. But not as exciting there. So if gold pulls back anything, I think silver is probably going to be a decent short. But yeah, a lot of people asking us about silver, and I haven't done too much work on it, so I don't know anything what exactly is going on with silver. If you want to look at XOM or some of these other plays in the energy space, I mean, XOM today up again another 1%. Really nice off of that $100 mark. So I think, chasing some yield here makes a little bit of sense if you're looking to park your money somewhere. Oil up and down, sure, but Chevron has been okay. XLE has been okay. I mean, some of these names, huge moves down, and we'll look to see if we can battle back. The only one that I don't really like is Occidental, but XLE is right into here as well. $80. I mean, I think it was 77 or so as that bottom. So that was another really great trade, and it's kind of consolidating and trying to break higher. I don't know if I like really anything in this space right now. I was just looking at oil and energy versus gold there. But yeah, GLD continues to outperform everything. Look at the NASDAQ, man, really starting to go higher right now. Apple probably trying to climb. Some of the levels that I had written down, again, TQs up to 45. I mean, how close are we getting now to that? Still no. So if we can get up to there, that would be a trade for me. We've already talked about where we're getting set up now for AMD with only a minute and a half to go. And look at that, whoops, to the downside. So, again, we're trying to get aggressive with this around 88. So that should have been a, target there for sure. And then we'll look again. We have Intel, INTC on our board. That's not really doing too much, but that one could come in. That's 1880. And then I wrote down Palantir, a name that we didn't get to, PLTR, 9150 to come into play. That's the 200 period. It was the 200 period moving average. So we'll wait to see if we could fall in a little bit to Palantir, if there was going to be a stock that gives something back. Here's 9150 right here. So again, bottom there was a nice top, Didn't get to trade through it because we ripped over overnight, up 2.5%. So yeah, Palantir down here to 91.50, I think is worth parking an order there. So I'm going to do that on PLTR. Put an order down here at 91.50, maybe 91.60. See if we can get, you know, just a starter position down there, like maybe 1 or 2 units if we can get that. And then AMD, we already know that's top is $88. We can put our offer there. And then the TQs, if we can get a run up to 45, stuff we're looking at. So yeah, those are my early trade ideas with orders pending. So let's go, man. If we can get anything like that, I'm down.
Yeah, I would love to get a dip buy in IBIT. Is that starting to go back into the upside? Man, Bitcoin's just been so strong, holding the 89,000. We could challenge 90,000 almost right away at the open. I'm looking for the dip initially. We talked about the chip names we want to be able to fade, but let's get it. It's Tuesday, it's Tesla earnings day, but we got a lot to trade in 2 and 1. Thank you very much there, Adara. Obviously, we didn't really talk too much about the big cap tech, but Apple would be another. No imbalances. I was so surprised. And Apple, there wasn't a buy imbalance in Apple. I showed it to you guys, but Apple churning now and breaking out the high of the day, getting to 197. Still like that 200 for fade in Apple, but strong buying going into the open on at least that name. And the first move for the NASDAQ ends up being down, despite all of that strength that you saw there in Apple. Here's NVIDIA. What's going on with that wick? There's NVIDIA immediately heading into the downside, right into VWAP. Bitcoin's not doing anything, so it's holding most of the tops. But NVIDIA just dropped about $1 into 98. So no real challenge close to 100. We saw this yesterday. It kind of did the same thing without wanting to get to that $100 level.
Yeah, we are, welcome everybody. We're here, and yeah, there's the call. I mean, I said I was, you know, looking to get some shorts here. I was a little nervous and cautious about the open. So here we go, AMD right into the VWAP again. I'm only looking short, not long, so we're gonna have to wait on that. If anything, it would, there it goes. Jeez, Sean. All right, well, we nailed the look, but we don't have the shares, so that's okay. Let's see what's going on with Palantir. Is that potentially making moves to the downside as well? Not really. Bouncing off of VWAP, so we wait for that one. NASDAQ now starting to get back up to the upside. So what did Intel wind up doing? We don't have that stop order to go out. Yeah, so Intel's actually nice. See, this was always the risk there, which is why I don't have a short. I'm waiting for it to break lower to make sure that we're right on Intel. It doesn't look like that's also happening right now as well. Oh, okay. Ooh. My wife just said there was a leak, but she's talking about PWHL. Okay, yeah. Walmart, Alibaba, maybe a quick little look as well. Yeah, I'm not into anything. Nothing's really lining up for me as of yet.
Yeah, Baba's not moving at all. That doesn't look like it wants that 115. I double-checked Nike for that $56 level. It's still solidly in the open range. Nike even open yet? Nike might not even be open yet. Just check that on NYC. And then Tesla. Okay, Tesla. Tesla's taking off a little bit here. I've always, this one I didn't have the level 2 up, so I can't confirm if all these wicks are right, but I'll believe it. We bounced right off VWAP, taking out 233 very, very briefly, and then coming back in here. But Tesla wasn't on the trade plan unless we saw 220s or 237.5. Maybe we will get a run at that high from, well, sorry, it's the lows from Friday. Friday support into resistance on Tesla. When in doubt, zoom out. So I guess it's going to be the patience game in here. I thought for sure there'd be a dip buy opportunity here in IBIT, and there's just nothing. Nobody's really selling anything on the open. Bigger volume candles and sort of bigger wicks on most of the other things I'm watching, and it's just not happening here in IBIT. I thought we'd maybe at least test VWAP or something. Still flying. We're holding. We're going to make 90,000, it looks like, here on Bitcoin. Going to have to join, I suppose, off the consolidation top. Super strong.
Okay. Yeah, like we had talked about going short here in this market today, and so I'm going to try a little bit here. We're a little early, obviously, on this trade, but the first trade of the day right here, we'll try it. Going to be the TQs. I mean, it's kind of made the top a little bit there, and again, I don't want to be in this for a long time. If we can hold out hope at 43.50, then fine. We'll look to trade that, but there it goes right to the downside. It's an 11-cent winner already. Let's see what happens with this market. I'm going to get out of a small piece here if we can get some 24s. I don't know. We'll average. There it goes. We just took some more shares there. So now we have an average price of 33. I don't really want to go too crazy here. If we break 43.60s, we're going to get out. So we're short here at 33. We'll take about a 30-cent or so shot here in the dark and see if we can get it. We always take about 10 cents. I don't know if that's something that I always do for some reason. But we'll see if we can get 24s there. And then we'll wait a little lower. We've already tested down here to 40. There it is. We've already tested down here a little bit. So we'll hold this short, see if we can get a banger, see if we can at least get a winner here. I don't know if it's going to be a banger, but we'll wait on the TQs as here we go. We knew we wanted the short, so we're in the short now. Let's see if it wants to print for us here today. So far, so good. There, oh no. There goes Palantir. Because we're short the market, let's think about getting something. Okay, well, here we go. There goes Palantir again. 91.50. Neil, it's just a small little win right there. Not 40 cents now in the money on PLTR. So yeah, we're doing pretty good now, but who knows for how long. Let's just start to get some out. 91.50, man, as it was written once again there on the sticky note. There it is, 50 cents just for my guy Sharif. As quick as you like. There we go, man. That's something for him over there. So we'll continue to watch this, man. We're going to go 2 for 2 on this side. What about you?
I'm not in anything yet. Nothing's actually hit, so we're just going to continue to play patience. I got hands off. I am on the offer now of Intel off the highs because it finally made a top. Nike is open. It held VWAP. I just love the move that it did yesterday. Welcome for continuation on Nike as we put on the note. So it's breaking out. I'm not taking 57s. Want to grab it off of the pre-market low. Going to go to 56 hat. And then as mentioned that I was going to get into Intel off of the high. So it wicked yesterday's top. That's the aftermarket when you guys watch the market recap show that it got to 19.3. I'm going to play it off of that level up top. NVIDIA looks like there's just not going to be any pop for us in here to fade. We just cancel that order, try to grab that short in here, but unfortunately, NVIDIA doing what AMD is doing, which is just instantly tanking. Let's go to the desk with Adara.
HTZ trying to go again here. This is Hertz. In case you missed it, last week, Bill Ackman's Pershing Square reported a pretty hefty position, which with shares and swaps actually amounted to 19.8%, or making them the second largest shareholder in HTZ today. This one trying to get another pop here right off the open, so keep an eye on Hertz. Also worth noting, we do have a bit of an economic print coming through at 10 a.m. It's just going to be Richmond manufacturing, but stay tuned. We will be giving you that one at 10 with Happening Now. Back to you.
And we get some Fed speak as well, too.
I took some Palantir. I wanted to broke through that 91.50, but it was a very, very small amount. We're going to see if we can hold the rest and see if we do get said moon action there on Palantir. But realistically, man, so far it's going to be the futures for. I mean, Palantir is great. It's we've taken some money on that. We've made more money on Palantir than we have on the futures, but that's just because we were able to get out of the majority of our Palantir because I was a little bit nervous. Like once this came out and I was like, we'll take 40 cents on this. Like I told you that we were putting some units down there at 91.50. So that's exactly what we wind up doing there for Palantir. But the big trade hopefully will be here on the triple Qs as we are in decent position for like 2 or 3 units on this one. So yeah, we're going to see if we can make or break the morning right now with this short on the NASDAQ. Palantir's working to the high side, so they'll counteract each other a little bit. But like I said, we do have less shares on Palantir now because we've actually cleaned this out to the top side. So yeah, probably should have held it. I mean, we had written down Palantir long 91.50, and that's exactly that price that we have. So, well, we have 91.60, but at the end of the day, it's trying to make a move higher while the futures are kind of just cruising. It's not doing too much. We only have 2 outs down there on the futures, and we're holding still 90% of this trade. So we don't have too many trades here on with the futures. If it does break through that 43.60, which is the day's high, then we're going to get out. So looking to make that 30, 40 cents. So far, our best fill, we could have got something down there at 09. Unfortunately, I was waiting at 09, so we got missed by 1 cent. But there it is, so here we go. So now we're coming right back up there to the upside. So we're gonna short again and add to that position. We're now short at 43.37s. We'll take a little bit out as we've added to this position. See if we can get a downside push here in the Qs. Remember where our out is. I mean, this could come out. We're waiting for 43.60, hands off. If that does come in, then we are out of that trade right there for the TQQs. So that's what we're doing right now. Long on Palantir, that's in the money 30 cents, and we're flat-ish right now on the futures.
Yeah, the futures aren't really doing much of anything. I'm looking over. It's like, well, Nike is breaking out, though. So this is one we wanted to long side. I'm trying not to chase it. It's still a bit spready in its opening range here, so I'd like to see it maybe give me one chance at a dip buy, one more chance at a dip buy, I should say. So we're just into Intel. That's the only one we're Of course, it's a NASDAQ stock. It's the only one that we're going to be in temporarily. but I do like that Nike buy. I'm bidding in front of pre-market highs and then out in front of that 19 level, and I don't want to sleep on IBIT. It just continues to hold, and now that's Intel. Just continues to hold up here. There's been no pullback. Hesitant to buy when we're not breaking 90,000. Up here at this top, you're at 89.7 on BTC. So I'd like us at least dipping back. That 88,888 level, I'd love to be buying off of a prior resistance. So that's the drop that I'm looking for here in IBIT to be able to pick it up. And NVIDIA, which was also on the short plan, it's kind of failing lower high under VWAP. So if we're not going to get 100, then the other play, and we did this yesterday, and it was on Tesla, if we just fail a lower high and fail VWAP, do the trend join on NVIDIA. So still looking for a dip to buy IBIT and Nike. That's just not happening. And maybe NVIDIA is going to get to 100, actually. Second I say it, all of a sudden NVIDIA pops up. But maybe we are going to get that run at the high here to be able to fade on NVDA. But nothing just yet for that big one. Dan McIsaac, yeah, FMTO. There's a few halts out there. If you guys are interested, the tap on FMTO is $8. So 7:30 halts. The tap is $8 if you happen to be interested in that one.
All right, so some outs there near the bottom of the TQs again, man, 43.15, but there it goes. So we're hands off. If it wants to go back up to the upside, that will be completely fine by me, as we still have a monster trade in Palantir. That's 50 cents, but this one looks like this is now 11 cents against me. We'll see what winds up happening. I'm not going to average into it, because remember what we've said before, like when you average in and you're trading with size, it just, you have to get out at your levels and then regroup. So right there, we're going to wait to see if there's anything that happens right now with this futures trade, and we'll look at that. HTZ was a runner. I see somebody in the chat there. Obviously, this has been a runner for a minute. There it goes through $9. So Bill Ackman and company, if you're following around on those trades, then you've definitely won right now, as that's up through $9 right now for HTZ as that's going. I'm going to get out of, there goes the futures. I'm going to get out of a piece of Palantir, as there we go. We'll spin it on Palantir. We do lose on the futures, but there it goes. Nice move again to the upside there, and it's too bad because we had called that 91.50 and got nervous about it, but there it goes. Nice upside move for Palantir and out on the futures. We were able to get some out there on the reload. It was a good one, man. We were down to 43.20 and thought we could have a winner, but there goes the futures blasting there to the upside. So bye-bye TQQs and hello Palantir. Now almost $1 in the money on that one. And again, if we just follow our plan, you know, we don't even have that TQQ trade. So again, we're, you know, the confidence is at all-time highs right now, how we're reading this market. So that was a good one. That is for sure. And I see, obviously, Intel came out on this.
Oh, yeah. When the market broke that high, it was literally simultaneous. We took out yesterday's tops, but any longs I liked didn't come into play. So I can tell you I liked the long on Nike, but it wasn't breaking out the 57 level. I wanted off of 56. I can tell you I wanted IBIT long, but it came to none of the levels that we wanted to try to pick it up. We just got to be patient. Said someone in the chat saying we're being good at being patient. I think it matters, because I would rather miss a trade here or there than stick on the wrong side of something just to force it. But let's go over to Adara. I believe we have something at the desk. Mara is making power moves with this Bitcoin move to the upside. Don't mean to only look at Bitcoin. It's just what I'm watching. Let's go to Adara.
This is FSLR, another one making power moves here. Not a ton of volume. I believe this just reached 1 million shares traded on the day, but nice push up, about 10% to the upside here for First Solar, trading higher after the U.S. finalized its plans for tariffs on most solar cells imported from Southeast Asia. So solar tariffs sending FSLR to the upside. Back.
There's a lot of squeeze-ish things happening. Webull is halted to the upside right now. Hertz, we already talked about breaking out through that top. There was one other one that was in that cohort. I think it was, maybe it was Holo that was making a move. Anyways, but a bunch of squeeze things happening this morning. I tend to get a little bit skeptical if they're all going at once, because I think that puts you in a little bit of danger. If one or two of them start to fade, you could see some real cascade action. It's a lot of Bitcoin or crypto-related names going, I don't mean to say Bitcoin. Coinbase just is ramped 6%, and it's all green shoots up here. Mara, we just said, was also super strong. That's up 9 points. Not chasing any of those. What's weird about this, at least to me, is, yeah, they're really outpacing BTC, and it's just not really doing much of any kind of a pullback here. And the only thing that's sitting around in plan still, and I hesitate to say it because the market's strong, is NVIDIA can't get through the high. Like, it's the one thing it just does not seem to want to go. Like, we're not being led by the chips whatsoever. Market breaking out tops and NVIDIA not breaking tops. Still underneath $100, so got to be patient. I think we have a chance to get to 100. We didn't see that short yesterday. I think we're going to see it today. But it's at least lagging the market for now.
Yeah, Palantir, we got out there, nice couple outs, so we're right into that level there, 92.50. So we'll go $1 there. We've already talked about that one. The other trade that I wanted to look at was the name that I told everybody to buy, if you liked it, was Tesla early on. I mean, now, you know, it was at 231. There goes Tesla right here. I said, you know, the fear is the shorts. And, you know, I don't, like I said, everyone looking, you know, it's going to be bad, it's going to be bad, it's going to be bad. When some things you think are going to be bad, maybe they're actually going to be decent. So we'll wait to see if Tesla's love continues today. But there it goes. Congratulations, anybody that was on Tesla, as that keeps on moving higher and higher and higher right now. Like, no real stop in sight. I think you want to trade it back to VWAP. So if we do get an opportunity to get long here in and around 232, congratulations, anybody that wound up taking that trade. And congratulations to the biggest winner one more time right now. It's Alice Carpet Company. Here's $1.40 in the money again. And if you guys were wondering like where we pick up those levels from, sometimes I wonder myself. But there it is right here, Palantir 91.50 long. Here it is right here, Palantir 91.50 long. So that came in, it had to go against us. And remember, I did clear out of some as we broke through 91.50 just because we were short the futures, but that trade doesn't seem to have mattered that much as that was basically the bottom. It's a good thing we didn't exit completely out of this, you know. Many traders would have. What's up, Donald? But right there, it's a nice move higher right there on Palantir. And again, this is where we are just so much of a better trader today than we were yesterday, we were last week, we were at all times, because look at this trade. We got out of this as there goes the futures all the way to the upside, and now we can actually follow our plans again and now wait for that 45 mark. So out of the TQQs. Look, we're here to trade and to make money. If I don't take swings, then I shouldn't be here. That was a good shot on the TQs. I thought we had the top. We got out as soon as it broke. So I'm actually really happy with that and really happy with the way Palantir is going. Today's been a good day for ideas. You just got to try to execute on them when they're there. And there goes AMD. We had written down on this one 88, so we're nowhere near 88 yet, but we can wait. It's bouncing now off the 50 period, so maybe there's a trade there. But I still want to be short the market. I'm just trying to wait for an opportunity to do that. So when we get that, I think we'll flip it on its head and go short. But right now the market is just straight up fire in the booth to the upside. So yeah, good job Martinez there and everybody that took this Palantir long with your boy.
Skull saying you want to short this strong looking market. We've seen this market do it before where you're patient, you wait for the fade. By the way, gold's at that support. GDX is also at that 51 level and attempting to bounce. So you are seeing like it's a relationship you would expect. Market going up, gold going down, but you've already got a pretty decent bounce play happening off of support on GLD. But I still think there's a little something there. IBIT it's hard to want to chase it. We're now above 90,000 on Bitcoin. So like it's never part of the plan to buy highs in this market. At least for me, I haven't done it in a while. But buying dips is going to be part of it. If we can at least get back into that 51, 88.8, 81, like 8888, whatever, repeating eights, that's the support level that I want to play off of, which does mean we have to wait for some kind of a dip on that name. Now, 100 on NVIDIA hasn't happened yet. We just barely cracked 99 in a bit of a reversal candle. So I still think there's a chance that sets up, but I'm not going to rush into it. We took our shot at Intel, threw our stop at the high, and if it rides, fair enough. You know, I'll be out of the short relatively quickly when we see a market like this. But a topping tail candle coming in here or the 100 level, those are the plays I want. Still favoring waiting for that short play. And I'm not going to get away from the plan this early. There was also Alibaba. I said I liked Alibaba short. It got to like 116. That actually held underneath 115. So this is also setting up as relatively weak. I just don't really trust these Chinese ADRs when they gap up lately, especially on very, very light news. So if the selling holds up, I pivot from 116 to 115 because that's where the yellow cells are. If the market's breaking out and you like the short and it's not breaking out with it, then you should still be okay to take that trade. Yeah, Weeble's going absolutely ham, everybody. I think it's halted again. The upside. Second time.
Weeble.
No story on those squeezes.
Weeble are bullish on Weeble. Okay, so we just got another piece of Palantir right here near these levels, so we'll wait to see if we can get something else. A little bit of a higher side play there. I did re-engage here in the short for the futures. I said I was trying to look to see, you know, if there was going to be anything up here. I still do like the short, but I want to just give it another shot. Like that's what Neil was saying. A lot of these stocks are just going crazy right now.
Weeble is
you know, like a Weeble. We were just looking at that. It's good. Probably might halt again up here. Wasn't this? Where did this come out at? This was like $15, $16. Recent SPAC conversion all the way to 66, 56, down to 28. Yeah, maybe there is a lot of room to go on the Weeble stock right there. 44.20 will be my out here on the TQs. And, you know, we have, oopsies, we have this little wick high right there that I'm kind of looking at. That's 44.30. Again, also a top right there, 44.35. Let's up our stop there then maybe into 44.40. So let's not average in too much now. Okay, well, now we're starting to come back in a little bit. Let's take some profit out if we can get, okay, well, we just got some 95s there, sorry. If we can get a little bit lower, we'll do that as well into the 80s. But let's take some out because we are expecting for a potential move higher. So if we do get that move up into 44.40, we want to make sure that we're taking some bullets out right now. Too bad we didn't get that move down. I just put another 94 there to take another 10 cents. But we'll average it in and around that 44.20 area and then give it to 44.40. I mean, the Nasdaq's up 2%. The Nasdaq's up 2%. I was thinking in my own personal account here, it's like if I'm too overexposed to tech and there's nothing being resolved, maybe we need to fade pops and maybe we need to get out of our positions. Not our positions, but if you've played some swing trades and things like that, maybe you want to exit some of those positions. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening now with the TQQs here. But remember, we do have the Fed talk right now and Fed speak with Harker going on. And, you know, that could move the markets easily, as we'd all know. There's a 94 take out here on the TQ, so it's good. Good thing we just got that, man, as we were watching it. We're trying to empty out of the clip now. We have a small percentage left of Palantir, and now we're running the short, hopefully, on the futures against that 44.40. So we need a downside push here to make this trade make any sense. So we're waiting for that. Yeah, go ahead.
No, the other side of that, I think we might be going to Darren in a second, but the other side of that is in front of earnings, if you're not feeling very good about things, wouldn't you want to take some profit if it was presented to you? But again, we'll see. We did get this topping tail candle and a bit of a trend break. It's a very steep early trend on NVIDIA, but it just cracked back under the opening range bottom here. That 99 level coming into play. I also got Alibaba off of VWAP, so if something trends down and you like short and early, I can get it off of VWAP. Pretty much always going to want to take it. Today, I checked my Alibaba VWAP is correct, unlike the other day. When it was a little bit off. That was unfortunate, but it's breaking down under the volume weighted average price. 113 was the opening range low, so I want an out in front of that, and then there's a huge gap in Alibaba. I just think as long as it's making lower highs, short the pops in BABA, and then continue to play with it. As long as this market goes up, if the market starts coming down, I want to make sure it's actually observing the relationship we want, which is counter trend to the market. Nike is coming back in at like 56, and we might actually get a test of the 56 level. So that's starting to come right back in. 56, pull it out in the daily chart, and you'll see a pretty big prior resistance level on Nike. It was a big rocket ship in yesterday's trade. So BABA, short off volume weighted average price, just got some out at the $0.50, looking for the full. NVIDIA in for the first time here today after that topping tail candle that we just saw. I can show you on the black chart. Topping tail candle we just saw. Going to try to get some out in front of VWAP and then look for the low of the day. No longs just yet. That's because I'm waiting for this pullback in IBIT. You know, and you can wait patiently. Eventually, nothing goes up forever in a straight shot. So I think at some point, we're actually going to get some kind of a dip here for real since the open.
Was it called for Adara?
Yep.
Lots of talk here about the Fed and from the Fed this morning. So we have Fed's Harker saying that the Fed has built up a lot of credibility over time. Of course, these comments coming as Donald Trump, President of the United States, has made his opinion on the Federal Reserve very clear. He would like them to cut rates, and he specifically has some issues with Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Furthermore, we actually had comments coming from the chief economist of Citigroup saying that They do not believe the Fed will, or that Trump will be firing Powell, saying that Rubicon cannot be crossed or will not be crossed. So keep an eye out here. Comments coming from Fed's Harker and about the Fed from the chief economist of Citigroup. We will be getting economic data by way of the Richmond Fed Index coming through at 10 a.m., so in about 6 minutes. Back to you.
Yeah, so that's giving me a little bit of pause for concern. I don't necessarily need to be in, obviously, these positions for myself anyways, as we head into into that Michigan number. So we'll just double check and see what exact numbers are coming through right now today, as Adara was just mentioning them. So let's go over to Twitter and have a look there. So there it is right now. We have Fed's Jefferson, okay, so talking Richmond Fed Index right there. Then we have Kashkari, Barkin, and Kugler coming. So it's that Fed Index number. We're looking for expected -7, prior -4. So I don't necessarily want to play off of that number. I just want to be able to, be like water here and adjust to whatever that number does bring out to us. So we've just been exiting this trade. We actually got out. I got out of not too much of it, maybe 25% or so of this trade down here into the 80s. So I do have another bid at 76, but I'm gonna put another bid right here at 80. Okay, we just got it at 85 as we come back in. So it's now 20 cents in the money. Remember where our stop was gonna be, was 44.40. So if we do get a higher move, we wanna short something in and around that area. But for right now, let's just try to cover as we only have 4 minutes into that. So I do really, really like this push for the futures. We might have finally found an area. We were waiting for 45, so hopefully that doesn't look too foolish and we don't follow our plan again. We're still $1 in the money over here on Palantir, and waiting for these TQs to sort of settle down just a little bit right now. Names moving around. Let's see if Tesla's settled a bit. No, it has not. Wow, Tesla. Look, I'm gonna tap myself on the shoulder for this, although we don't even have it. We had said that I thought, the fear, no matter what this market was going to be to the shorts, because it's just been blown out so easily the last couple of days that I wouldn't necessarily want to be short into this print, nor would I want to be long. So I just feel that there's too much negativity in the name, and there it goes back there to the upside for Tesla. So I'm not shorting this. If anything, I'm going long if we get dip buys into 233. So I'd love for this to come to 233 because it means that this guy is printing. So hopefully that happens. Palantir right now is the absolute banger right there of the day as the sticky note reigns again right there. We should have just only had this trade plus this TQ trade maybe that I'm in now, but it doesn't matter. All in all, there it is, man. It's $1.50. I hope some of you had that. That's a good one. Obviously, Alibaba and NVIDIA in play as well, as we're trading names that are in play, but we're not really trading these bigger ones. Like this Hertz, $9 back into $8.50. That's fallen a little bit there as well. And I think
coming back too.
Bull, yeah, I was going to say all of these stocks, let's see if they drop down. This should be good for the NASDAQ, man. If a lot of these names come out, let's see what winds up happening with the broader market, not getting that enthusiasm from all these bids, but they're not moving the market anyways. We're going to have that Michigan number coming through very, very soon. The only other trade that I was looking to go here today would be Intel, and I know you're out of that one, but we were looking at Intel for an 1880 break. So we don't have that there as it tops out at 1945 coming back in. Let's wait. I mean, if Intel breaks that level, then oh boy, that money will be spinning over here on this trade. So we'll wait to see what happens with the futures.
Just want to quickly, we'll go back to some of the positions in a second, but Nadir, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate you. What do we think about Loblaw stock? Look, if you're in Canada, you know that it's a good company. The reputation isn't always the best with the consumers, but that's because people think that they just get away with charging too much, which is ultimately a good thing. That's all I will say about Loblaw stock. I don't own it, but up here in Canada, it has been a very good one, performance-wise anyways. Very quickly, Weeble's open and holding higher. Great. IBIT is finally giving us a bit of a dip buy, so first shot there. NVIDIA reloading off of that lower high. Haven't actually gotten into IBIT yet. Reloading off that lower high. Did try to bounce off VWAP, not quite. Got to 98.5, but now you're right back in front of this 99. If the plan is 100, I don't want this running the highs on me. We're counter trend right now, so if you're counter trend, you want to make sure you take your out. But this is the dip in IBIT that we've been looking for, so I'm going to start to try to buy into this one on the way back into the upside. Played off that prior high. We just bounced effectively off 90,000. there on IBIT. We're at 90,01, or sorry, 90,100. So we're going to get our first buy into IBIT here. I'm just sitting at like, never used midpoints on this. I'm just sitting at 36 trying to get filled. Maybe I'll nibble in at the high 30s. We want to buy this dip and see if we can't go higher and higher and higher. Tesla is going to break that 237. And yeah, it's definitely going to break that 237 as we speak. I don't want to chase this. We're about to get the numbers are coming in about 30 seconds. So I feel like I'm just going to leave the orders in. I don't want to chase this move going into the number. We'll see if we get picked back up as we're going to get those numbers in about 30 seconds. Just Richmond manufacturing. Let's go over to Adara.
About 20 seconds here until we get these Richmond Fed numbers. We're looking for Richmond Fed Composite Index, Manufacturing Index, Manufacturing Shipments Index, and revenues. We already got them in here. These often do come a little bit early. So negative 13, lower than expected across the board. Negative 13 here for the Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index. Shipments index at negative 17 versus negative 7 previous year. And then negative 7 coming in here for the service revenues index. So all of these well below their previous print here. NASDAQ kind of pushing slightly higher here, still near day's highs for the QQQ. Some of these small cap or meme runners too. There's GELS. There's also, of course, BULL, Webull once again. And here is GE Aerospace, one of the many earnings plays from today. Other names included MMM and LMT. GE actually beating here in EPS. Sales a bit in line, but the CEO did mention that he actually spoke to Donald Trump with regards to tariffs. Keep an eye on all of these earnings calls coming out later today because some of them have not yet happened. LMT is set to have their earnings call at 11 o'clock. Speaking of earnings calls, Tesla reporting after the bell today, TSLA. Not only are we looking for some numbers, but there's also some speculation that there might be an answer as to how long Elon Musk will be staying with Doge at this call. Again, though, that is all speculation. We'll have to find out after the bell when they report. Check that out with us on the Market Recap Show. And in the meantime, back to the guys.
Yeah, that didn't really move the way that I expected it to on the futures at all. The number came out a little bit, at least I heard it a little bit early. We got a bit of a spike to the downside and then right back up. So I just got out of NVIDIA and Alibaba in the same breath. If we're not going to get a push at that high, then we'll just have to wait for another re-entry somewhere else on these bad boys. NVIDIA, I'll show you the same trade over there on NVIDIA. Well, similar look on NVIDIA, where it just ran the top very, very briefly. Wasn't a huge volume spike or anything. It's obviously not a huge, gigantic number. I was expecting a little bit more action than what we saw there. But I'm not going to fight this one. You're starting to trend back up. If it's going to be a breakout day, you're holding VWAP, you're holding a lower high. Once you start to get into this mode, where we don't break down from that initial lower high, then I start slapping the trend and saying, hey, you're either going with the trend or waiting for the break of the trend. And it's going to be that simple. I got to go back over to IBIT. Said I wasn't going to chase it with that number coming out, thinking you'd get a volume event. That didn't happen. Like, it just slowly grinded higher. I left the bids in there, did not get picked up on anything. So we're still looking for the dip buy in IBIT. I thought the number would get us in. We've seen that happen so many times where you get that flux and you get picked up on the bid. I was expecting it to happen there with IBIT, and it was nothing of the sort, unfortunately.
Yeah, tough start with those, but I mean, the market is just trying to figure itself out. I mean, I'm going to sit here. We didn't get our 40. I took a little bit there. Oops, that's Palantir. Sorry, I'm not worried about Palantir. We don't have a huge piece left. We have many more shares on the TQs right now. It didn't get. I was sitting here waiting for 40. Wait a minute, 43.55? No. 44.35, sorry, was my next stop there because I'm going to get stopped out at 44.45 if we take that out. So I was waiting to see if we got a top bump, but it didn't really print. It's holding these highs on what I thought was not a great number. So, looking for it to come back in. I can see now, it looks like, now NVIDIA, looks like, right back under
These
again.
Small names
so,
are getting moked.
we talked about, the patient game, but you also got to have a little bit of patience too on the levels, right? Because you don't really know what this market has in store. And right now it's holding these highs. And if we zoom back out a little bit on the TQs, this is kind of these levels that we're talking about right here to see if we break in and around 444, basically. This level right into here is what I'm trying to hold out against. See if this top does create a top and we fade back into 437 or so for the NASDAQ. But now you're up 1.9%. It looks like it wants to go higher and higher. But that's just a little look there. And then why I'm holding on to the TQs is right into here. We talked about this little gap that's happened. So I'm trying to fade it against these levels. That's 44.50. That little bottom is 44.35. That's where I want to take the trade, right into here. So if we come into that level, we're getting close to that. And then I'm just going to give it that 10 cents, which there's not much there. You can go to 44.50 or whatever, but I'm just going to basically throw my hands up and be like, let's stop out of that trade if it does get back up to that side, because we don't need to, sit here in a trade that is not favorable, especially in this environment. You were just looking at Alibaba, so I'm going to go back.
I'm still staring Alibaba down. Technically, it's still a lower high. So,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well, technically, that's not the right. It is a lower high. It is flat out still putting in a lower high. So as long as I see that, I'm waiting to just get back into this one. If it breaks out the top, I don't want to be shorting a trend break when the market's going up. But if it stays on trend off this pre-market top there, then we're going to jump right back into the short. It's a bit of a different story on NVIDIA, so I'm not going to be as quick to chase that one, but that's the play for Alibaba. Bitcoin, IBIT, Bitcoin in here. Why can't I move this chart? Here, I got to fix the scaling on that chart. There you go. Bitcoin looking like it still wants to dip. That's suddenly looking a bit different here, where you're getting a wick high at 51.5. Maybe you are just going to get a VWAP drop. So I didn't want to chase the move initially. I'm still feeling these shorts. So we'll wait to see if Baba's going to set back up again. That can be one for sure. It's not going to be chasing at all. I think this one can hold this lower high, and we can fade back in. And the other side of it is, at least there are more plausible scenarios in which the market continues to go up and a Chinese ADR doesn't decide to go with it, which leads me to sticking with Alibaba in here. And maybe not NVIDIA yet, because it's still holding above VWAP. It's Baba.
Yeah, like Alibaba over there as well. So I'm just in such a small spot here for Palantir that I'm not even, it's not an issue. So if you guys are looking to get long or something like that, that's a great spot, 92.50. I am way more focused right now. I was debating putting some offers here, some bids here and just clearing this trade out right now on the TQs, because it doesn't look like it wants to fall in. I thought that last move right there could have been the move to come back, and it didn't look like it stopped basically on that same level again, 44.10s. I'm actually bidding 44.02s, thinking that, trying to make 20 cents on our last reload right there, and then try to deal with, a lower move if it does come through. But remember, I still am waiting here to get maybe I'm going to lower these shares a little bit here at 44.35. So I'm going to put another order here at 44.35 and just lower how many, there we go. Okay, we got them. Lower how many we're taking on that, because the market is definite upside here. We don't need to be too stubborn with this trade. We've already lost once on it. It's still not at our 45 level, but it's 10-10-10. So I thought maybe we're not getting there, similar to what we did yesterday on NVIDIA. What's up, Adara?
Some earnings call commentary coming through for 3M. The company's CFO saying that, basically commenting on tariffs, saying that they have about 90 days of inventory. That'll last them until the end of June. After that 90 days of inventory, elapses, then they're going to start seeing the impact of tariffs on imports from China. So 3M basically warning here, they have a 90-day window worth of inventory. After that, some tariff concerns are going to come into play. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara. Well, what also is going to come into play, it seems, is Apple at 200. So here we are. That was what I thought a low probability opportunity that it would get up there. And you're at 198.70, so I think we could get to 200. I didn't even have an order up there. It's not like I was expecting us. I wasn't that bullish on the market today, so I'm not going to expect us to get to 200 at 10 o'clock. But we're now $1 away, so the order is out. We like this level, at least last week, as well as a resistance spot, so could get a bit of a reversion. Alibaba's now broken that little trend that we're playing off of. Now you're starting to get some higher highs, so I'm walking away from that short until it tests the top. And same thing with NVIDIA. IBIT doesn't seem to, Bitcoin just doesn't want to do a bigger dip. Yeah, I'm trying to be very patient about looking for this to get into VWAP, and 51 is that level that we wanted to play off of, at least in terms of Bitcoin price. 88.88 would give you VWAP. So I'm still being really patient with that one giving us this 51 level. So those are the stocks that I'm watching in here. Oh yeah, Webull. I meant to go over this for all the bulls out there, the Webulls out there. It opened back up after the halt. There was another, I thought it halted a second time. I guess I was wrong about that. My indicator said there was a second halt, but it broke $30 just now. But a topping tail and a bit of a reversal happening on Webull. It hasn't challenged VWAP since the open, so I think that's what would come next if it can't hold this $30. Pure squeeze play, but it makes sense, right? Like, I mean, Robinhood's going, Bitcoin's going. This has a pretty big, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Like retail interest, I guess is the word. So it's very squeezable here on Bull. But I'm going to stick with IBIT, BABA, NVIDIA, and now, of course, Apple could get to this 200. It's wild. Didn't see that coming.
I have 93.50 written down, or 93.40 offer sitting here. Maybe a little bit of a head, shoulder area. Now we're coming right back up. So maybe Palantir does give us that fill, and then we'll see if we can crack a little bit lower now as the NASDAQ is really starting to elevate itself there. Up 2%. Wow. I mean, that's going to be another, I think a great opportunity to sell into this rally, but the bulls today are winning. So let's kick those bulls to the side as I know you've just had 3 shorts. Those have all been L's. This L is right here for TQs, which is my biggest position, which will put me red on the day. So, not super great over here. I hope a lot of you guys are long as we haven't been able, there it goes. There, oh yeah, 45. Yeah, there was the out. I was looking at this, it was like, wait a second, where's my out? But there it is, 45. So as I was just saying, man, I hope you guys do something. We don't have any dubs here yet. I just have Palantir and it's been dwarfed. I lost more money on the TQs than Palantir. So I guess we'll go combined 1 for 5. Not huge today on the shorts. So we've been thinking shorts. I hope the shorts can come in at some point, but there it goes, man. Tesla leading the way today for sure. 237 and change, up 4% right now for Tesla. So yeah, again, like all shorts, man. The only long that we have is Palantir, and that just gave you $2 on that trade. And at least it came into our level. It was a level that we had written down. If we do stick to our plan, then we're 1 for 1. But we push the keys, and when you push the keys, you're responsible for the trades. And we do lose on the TQs. But as we said before, as I keep on saying, anyways. Really glad that we were able to get out of it right there. These trades I'm fine with. They're able to take a little bit there. The reload's obviously not great on the upside for the TQQs, but yeah, man, what's up, Martinez and everybody else? We got burned on the shorts, man, and that's part of the trade. Yesterday we had that huge NVIDIA move to the downside, and we captured that. We had a great move on Palantir early and late. So the day is still very, very young. It's just, right now, red and looking to get back into the game, right? AMD is not moving at all. So we had that name written down as a short, and that looks like that's going to be right. So there we go. We'll get it worked out. But out of Palantir, that was obviously a good trade. That was $1.90 right there on that trade. So far, so good. And it looks like the futures, I really want to get back into it, but let's just stay with our 45 talk, as that's initially what we had written down here, 45 to 45.50. So we'll see about that if it gets up that high. But yeah, man, so far, five names, and we'll wait to see if we can get comfortable again. I like your Apple up there near approaching that 200.
Well, we'll see.
So
the unfortunate thing when we scream like this is if you don't get the longs that you wanted, you're going to end up in short setups. That's just, it's very, it stinks, but that's just how it is. IBIT is continuing to, it's barcoding up at the top. I look back over at Nike. Wow, look at that Nike. That's the fail. That was the fail. Now, part of it was Nike kind of opened a little bit later than anticipated, and I had another level 2 up there. Yeah, I don't have a defense for that one. Nike pulled right into that prior resistance and then just went, and it just bounced. It was a clean bounce. Should have had that long. But at the end of the day, like I was looking for some of those shorts up there. Come on, Alibaba. That's how you want to do it? Alibaba goes right into the opening range top, fails again. And the second it starts selling, now it's starting to see a little bit of acceleration. So just when I think I'm a little bit more patient waiting for the top, that's when it starts to crawl. I'm not chasing it, not going to do it. And Apple, well, we don't want 200. It's starting to curl at 199. Well, I'm sitting out in front of the $200 level. I still believe in the trend break. I want to keep it at least a little bit in perspective. We basically just bounced into Friday, like Thursday's lows, because Friday was a holiday. The Thursday low, and you've got a topping tail candle. So that move, not a huge one. I know it's 2%, but remember how much we were down. We were down 3% in that NASDAQ. I'm not going to chase this one too far, but NVIDIA just made a top. Apple just made a top. Alibaba, which I feel a little bit better about, because I think if there's continuation in the market, this won't necessarily blow it out, has a hard 114.5, which you can't seem to break out through. That's when I want to be able to fade if we can get that.
Yeah,
IBIT's not dropping, though. Like, that's so weird. The market's coming down a bit, and IBIT's right back at that high.
Yeah, let's
refusing to dip.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at this hot list. I got back into the Qs because we had looked at that chart, 44, 45. I mean, now we're getting into that stubborn realm here. All right, it's because we haven't. It's not because I don't want to trade the net, but like we haven't. We're basically flat today, so it's like I still like the short up here. I don't know. Just looking at that, I wanted to play off of levels that we looked at Wednesday and Thursday, and the TQs is something that I'm looking at for sure. We had said this yesterday. Okay, here comes the TQs. Get down, man. We just took a 22 fill. Can't believe we got stopped out there at 45s. Would be pretty good at this point, but whatever. We got back in, so let's wait. So all we really gave up there by getting back in was about 14 cents, or what am I short at? 32s, out 45s, like 13 cents, but still, it doesn't matter. We need to capitalize on it. It needs to go down if we're going to make that money back at the end of the day. But we just saw at the top there was Robinhood, so that was something that I wanted to talk about because we had said this yesterday when we were looking at JP Morgan and some of these other names, and it was like if Robinhood, this is a trade list, trade rate brought to you by eSignal. Gives you some of the names that have been really moving around here today and which ones are maybe doing, active trading. You can get like CleanSpark, IQ, different names that will show up on this list. Pretty cool. That is for sure. All right, man, we have, again, like I'm not playing around with size, so I got to deal with these positions as they come through. We're waiting at 12. We just missed that 12. I just punched them out at 16s. Okay, we're doing it here. We're trying to make this. We're trying to make it back. Yes, that's just a function of the trade. I'm not trying to do anything. If this comes in, this is why I am bidding 12s. I mean, it shouldn't be rocket science. This number right there is 11, 12. So that bottom, if we come in, we'll take that fill. And it just bounced off of it. It went to 13s. We were at 12s. When we were down here, we missed it by 2 pennies as well. Actually down here, we were at 43.09 and we missed it by 1 cent. So we just missed that by 1 cent as well. But then we punched them out at 17s. Again, just trying to massage this position. I do think we can get back in. I mean, this is where I really like to take some out. So we have bids right now at 43.95s, 44 even, and then down here as well at 43.70 where VWAP is. So if we can get this push, which now it's starting to come in, I didn't see, not even getting those 12s now. We're at 12. Okay, we're at 12. We didn't get it. Now we got it. All right, let's go. Here comes a nice little downside move now. Let's get those 44s in. Let's get those 43.90s in, and then we'll see if we can make a little bit of bread on this trade, which we definitely are. There it goes. Nice move down there on the Qs. So we're back at it right here. Let's see if we can make some winners back into this. I see, obviously, you're back into Intel, so we're staying with the same names.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's what you have to do. Like, you got to look at the things that were in part of your plan of action. I can't ignore the fact that Intel went to a double top at prior resistance. So going back, if it's not breaking resistance, someone's like, why short? Look at like a higher time frame chart or zoom back to last week's resistance levels. And in a downward market, that's what I always want to respect.
Espresso.
Shout out to Randy. I haven't done an espresso from that machine in a while. So back into that one. It's not an espresso?
Oh, tariffs.
What?
Look, Canada has tariffs on coffee now? All right.
So
I was hoping it was espresso, to be honest with you.
I was kind of. It doesn't matter. Thank you. I always appreciate Randy there.
That's good, though. It is.
We have a nice espresso machine in the back. I get regular coffee out of it every single time. I don't know about you.
No, neither do I. Sometimes I'll hit an Americano or something, but this is. I feel like this is espresso. This is stronger than normal coffee. So
it does taste strong. By the way, IBIT is still breaking out. Even with that last little dip, you're still breaking out on Bitcoin. I hate getting, like, there's some moments where you're like, just break every rule and join the trend. And I don't feel like that because the resistance we're at. So like I said, I got back into Intel off that double top. Apple doesn't seem to want 200, at least not yet. John Walbridge asking about Hertz. Why not? Hertz yesterday was great off 660. Today, underneath VWAP. Why are we under VWAP? This market's blasting. The squeeze names were all really going. Webull was just breaking recently, so guys, I don't like these underneath the volume weighted average price. I'd like to see it hold above. A little bit disappointed in Hertz. I loved where it bounced in yesterday's trade and thought you could get some continuation maybe, but it's underneath that prior high. Yikes, that's a failed breakout, at least for now. It needs to get back above 875 on Hertz. Checking back in with Bull, because I know that was doing a heck of a lot better. Webull, first red candle possibly incoming here on the 15-minute for Webull. But as long as it holds 27-ish, then this is very much still in squeeze territory for Bull. By the way, 40-cent spread on Webull. Yeah. You know what? I wouldn't trade. I'm not trading that. Hertz is reasonable, but this is a pretty big spread.
All right, so here we go, man. We're about to go over to Adara, but look what this board looks like. Where's that winning thing, Fabian, when we have it's Adara, it's Fermin over there. You know, winning. Today looks to be, there it is. Yeah, there she goes. Thank you, Ramin, for that one. Yeah, today it looks like everybody on this chart appears to be winning. I mean, Apple, nicely done up to the upside there. Look at all these names. Apple up 3, Sony, I guess these are all in the technology space there, going to the upside. Meta up 1.7, Google up 1.5, NVIDIA up 1.8, Morgan, JP Morgan, the financials. Look at the financials today. Everything green side right now for the financials. BAC up 1.87%. Wells Fargo, there's Walmart, there's Costco doing some damage right now on the board as well. So it looks like, man, anybody... Kind of like any trading here to the long side, so far so good if you've been looking at that. And like I said, man, all the shorts that we keep on having on, not really working out, although this futures trade hopefully working. We'll hope that Intel works out. And then just look at this move to the downside as well. As Meta right now makes that move down, like, you know, if you're thinking about some stock, this would have been one to short Meta as it got near 500 again. And then whoops, all the way to the downside. Meta losing $7, $6 or so now to the downside, 495 into 489. So downside goes Meta. Someone just said mom spaghetti, so I assume that's going to be Rigetti. So a shout out to you, classy gorilla, as you are 100% right. There goes Rigetti. So the quantum names may be on move as well today. QBTS. There goes Palantir, man. The stock that we had, the awesome, the only winning stock of the day right there, unless that Intel just printed for you. But there goes Palantir again to the upside as it looks like, well, I'm not going to call up Intel, you had it. It looks like TQQs right now as well as, hey, man, the smartest guys in the room, guess not us, as we just keep on going short. As I just showed you that chart, the Nasdaq's up 2%. Sometimes you got to believe.
The only good thing is it was a smaller loss in the first one. It's like chuckle.
I was going to ask you if you had the same amount of shares.
No, the only thing. Well, actually, I didn't. I had a slight bit more. The stop was just way tighter based on the entry. Like the first risk on Intel was over.
Here goes the market.
Just before we go to Adara, the first risk on Intel was about 10 or 11 cents. I think it was actually 11, 10 plus 1 cent worth of slippage. But the second one was like risking 5 cents. So I had a little bit more shares, actually not double, so I didn't lose double on it. But this market just wants to go. We're going to go to the small cap recap. But the trend is holding very decently. So either you wait for it to come down into the trend line. Look, I had it before. You just draw a trend line. I'm buying it in front of the trend line on IBIT. And if that loses, I'd rather lose on a long than those shorts. Alibaba is the only thing that's still setting up. I'm still respecting the fact that Alibaba is holding 114.5. But let's go to Adara. We have the small cap recap. And there are a lot of them that are going.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Some of them actually are not as strong as they were earlier in the day, but we do have IWM, also not as strong as the NASDAQ or the S&P 500. Lately, these have been moving almost in tandem, but now we're back to the IWM being slightly contrarian to the other indices. IWM still up here, but it's been trading lower since we had that opening candle on the 15-minute chart almost an hour ago now. NG really strong. Nova Gold, this is about a $1.3 billion market cap. This company announcing a partnership here. Nova Gold and Pulsed Advisors going together to acquire a 50% stake in Donlin Gold from Barrick. Now they're forming a new partnership to develop this project. So NG acquiring a 50% stake previously owned by Barrick in another project. Then we have TIVC. This one a little bit off of its highs, but announcing that they've held some briefings with the White House and the FDA with regards to interest in potential military and defense applications for its product candidates. TIVC, this one is run pretty frequently. It has a 500,000 share float. Last but not least, GELS, 4 million share float for Geltech. No news on this one today, guys. Back to you.
All right,
You don't
guys.
need news today. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, yeah. You don't, that is, listen, I mean, I agree. I don't think you need too much news, but what you do need is capital. So I think right here with Trade the Pool, you can trade real stocks with massive capital and only massive capital and only put down massive capital and only put down limited numbers of $47 out of your own bank account. You could get massive capital. Trade the Pool offers 2 ways to get funded, and both give you access to up to $200,000 in company capital. It all depends on your trading style, as it always does. The Max plan is built to reward consistency with a smooth path to payouts. The flexible plan, the Flex plan, is designed to fit you when you need more time and flexibility. Whichever path you take, Sharif, your risk is capped and your opportunity, as always, is unlimited. Join tradethepool.com and scan your QR code right there to get a massive 10% off your order today. It is Trade the Pool. Look at those fine gentlemen smiling over there. They must have been long today. So congratulations to anybody that is long with those guys in the chat. It sure as hell ain't us. But right now, we were long on Palantir, man, and that was 91.50, Sharif. It's at 94.14 right now. So giving a lot of love to Palantir. Unfortunately, we got out at the high of the day there of 93.40. We'll take $2. So the only long today in the accounts, Palantir, and it's a banger. So there it goes. It's a nice one. We'll see if it continues to go up. We love Palantir. Palantir has been a huge sort of savior for my account over the last couple months, that's for sure, as it remains high. Palantir, they're up a couple percentage points. I think 15 or so far on the year, but that number changes pretty much every day. All right, so a couple more outs here on the futures as we load it back up. You can see where we're short. We're short right here at 40. Let's see if we can get a move down. I'm actually going to put another bid right now at 44.30s and see if we can get that, because we are pretty, we're pretty weighted here on the TQs as we wait to see if these futures do want to crack a little bit lower. So let's go futures. Let's go to the downside right now and see if we can finally get this short to start to print for us here today. As there it goes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can make this all back. If we get in the teens, we're back, baby. And then we'll go 2 for 2 with our symbols, but not necessarily our trades. But this one, hopefully, will hold out. 44.50 the high. Let's see if we can get this. I'm bidding 44.20s, then 44.12s, then 43.90s, then lower.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. Like, just stick to your plan of action. Yeah. We bought a different dip in IBIT. Like, I'm going to show you the trend in NVIDIA, but IBIT's got the same one. But I'm thinking, like, I'm still not very bullish on NVIDIA. So while I don't mind buying this trend on IBIT, I want to be selling this top on NVDA if we can get it. It just keeps on wicking through 99. I keep thinking we're going to get to 100, and it just doesn't want to get there. And then I'm reminded yesterday, literally yesterday's high was 99.40, which is kind of, it's ridiculous that I was short out in front of that. So 99.40, I've got the stop already in there. If we get it, fantastic for that short. But I feel as if you had to be very patient. And if that's just, we're wicking that high and rejecting yesterday's top, then that's what you should wait for. Just looking back over, Bob is not doing anything in this rally, which is good for the short. I still want to get that high or a fail of the volume weighted average price. That would be the plan of action. And by the way, this, I just saw in the chat, the Trader Forever. Look at the Russell. Like, the Russell's losing the bid here. I mean, it just leads me to be I'm still sticking with the bear case. And I look over at Apple. Apple was like a patented trend break up at that high. It's pulling back into VWAP. Going to cancel the 200 temporarily on Apple. I'm not giving up on the notion that we short the 200 level, but at this point, I feel like the juice to get it there, at least quickly before we end the morning show, it's kind of abating. You're getting that lower high. You're getting some pressure starting to come into the market. I'm not sure we're going to get that top. So it'll be a relatively tight stop trade joining trend because, look, let's be real. I wanted IBIT $1.50 ago. And then when I wanted a bigger pullback, I certainly wanted it. Like when we were up here, I was thinking pull back into 51. So if I'm buying 51.40s, then I don't want it going through those 30s. but it's about I think the short's just coming right back in. I'm going to pop into Alibaba in the consolidation because the same price I was shorting before, where we eventually stopped out, look at it holding the line. So this 114 is starting to look a little bit better. There's only so much patience that you can have. If the market's telling you something, then I want to make sure that we're listening to it. So I'm popping back into this. It's not off the 114.50 high that we would have played off of before, but I'm seeing sellers just underneath this 114.20. So I feel like the more you look for 420, the more you're going to find it, because now I see that pattern there again, 114.20. I'm going to cancel my stop at the 50 because I'm trading off a lower level now. Can't put in, it's one thing that I would love. I know you can do it through the API here, real trading, but there's one of my favorite stop orders you can only have in one at a time, and it's like the get out of 100% of your position. I'd love to be able to use that, where I can say, get out all of it now, but then leave this other stop in there so if it pops, I can short one more time. So the market is holding at the high and no longer screaming. We're back into BABA, but not at that ideal 114.50 level. We're into IBIT long for the first time here. Rakesh, yes, Webull is still going. I don't think nothing against Hertz, but I feel like this one's doing much better than Hertz. Like Hertz is, I don't know what's wrong with Hertz today. Oh no, never mind. Hertz broke back out above VWAP. I've already told you I'm not trading Webull. When I looked at that spread, it didn't seem very tradable. But I do like Jalen Hertzing, Sean just said, for Hertz. No, it actually looks good now. It's back above the volume weighted average price. That's what you prefer to see for like a small cap or a squeeze type name. I don't know if I think I want to get involved in this. I liked Hertz yesterday, and today I didn't give it too much of a gander because I thought the shorts would come in. They haven't, so you got to look elsewhere.
I'm going to put an order in for new Post-it notes, so we'll get some more sticky notes coming through.
3M needs the revenue.
3M needs it big time, yeah. So I said only buy the Post-it notes. Yeah, well, they were, okay. Let's go right now. So the first long, well, we had long Palantir, but the first long that we've had in a minute is in right now on IBIT. But you know what, man? Here we go. We are starting to make that money back like right now. So this is going to be a good one. I'm going to take something out here at the 50-period moving average. I was initially at 12s. I'll put it there at 15 and get filled right now as we come back to the downside. Oh boy, we could have that winner on right now as we were just fighting. And again, as Neil had mentioned, okay, there it is. I guess IBIT must have come out there as the market now falling back in a little bit right here. So yeah, it looks like it is going to be hopefully a downside push right now for the TQQs. I've only traded two names, man, and right now we are red on the NASDAQ, but like I said, if we can hold out here in the teens and get a little lower, then hopefully this name will become another green trade. But the future is bouncing off the 50 period. That's not a good sign. We'd like to see it hold underneath if we're going to play the shorts, as I see we're into BABA and we're into the futures right now, looking at that kind of a trade there. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening with the TQs. Just as a quick little rundown, I wrote down Intel 1880. That's obviously not going to come into play now, so we'll stay away from that one. Oh, Intel's not really doing anything right there, so we'll wait. And then AMD was the other short idea. I'm just trying to go with the sticky note, because what we had today on this non-sticky note, this workbook or notebook, we had the TQs, we had Palantir long, we have AMD and Intel. So the only things that really have hit was Palantir, and then we fight with the demons right now on the TQs as it's trying to go back up. Let me get out another 5% here at 25. There it is. So we'll take out some more fills here at 25 and just work on this as Meta. Like Meta's cracking lower right now. Meta, we have to go to Adara, right? Okay, there goes Meta down through 486.50 right now. To the downside goes Meta, as Meta's breaking everyone's backs today. Still up on the day, but had been real tough go in the last half hour or so for Meta. That, you know, we're only losing over here on the shorts. This one we should have been in. That is for sure. But it wasn't on my radar. You can't trade everything. What up, Adara?
And I just want to let you guys know, there's no story on Meta that I can find. I've checked X, I've checked Benzinga. The only thing I'm seeing is a lot of confusion as to why Meta is down. No story, at least that I'm aware of as of right now. Let's take a look here at BTC. This is the 3-minute chart. Every time we think this might make a slightly lower high, and this uptrend keeps pushing to the upside, nicely above that 90,000 level. Let's take a look here at the daily chart, see what's going on. And as you can see here, nice little breakout here for the daily for BTC. I talked yesterday about how now once we'd broken out that previous little local consolidation high, that 86,000, we'd have to wait to see what happens at 90. We've broken out 90. Next level is going to be that 92.5 area. So let's see what happens there for Bitcoin. But what's happening with some of these other crypto-related plays? We're going to take a look right now, dive into it. Ethereum basically flat here, up about 0.5%, still hanging on to that 1,600 level. BNB basically flat. Solana 3.5%. Doge 4.5%. So some names making some decent upside moves here. And back to you.
Yeah, if you hear any loud sounds, well, it won't be that loud, but they're doing fire alarm testing, so we might actually see that just a bit. For everyone that was asking about HIMS, I don't see a story. Adara doesn't see a story. It's down 2%. It's at the low, so just chalk that up as another one that is actually going down to said downside. Unfortunate for HIMS. There was a good story. I mean, Novo had a positive headline. Eli Lilly got an upgrade. Yeah, look, I don't want to speculate too much. I mean, you can say maybe that's why, maybe it's not. We don't know what the story is with HIMS. It is at yesterday's low. Let's try to respect it. As soon as it got like 30 pennies in the money, bounce on Alibaba. It's calming down a little bit here. But IBIT, we said, well, let's not chase. It breaks the prior low and then right back into the high. Like, come on. Like, every time I'm like, okay, you know what? We're going to go with a tight stop and we're going to wait for the big dip into VWAP. And then it's just the bearishness. You're too bearish. And then this happens and you're right back in at those highs on IBIT. So I did not want to be playing off of the highs on this name. It's just wasn't part of the plan. Some of it has to do with what happened yesterday, because yesterday the big trade for me on IBIT was kind of the one off the low. So you get anchored to, hey man, if this is what it gave you yesterday, then why I don't want to chase the move in the morning. Up top, I'm not shorting it, but I'm just not really feeling buying in the highs based on the price action we saw yesterday. So we're back in Alibaba. I will show you NVIDIA. We never got into that top, but remember yesterday's high, 99.40. It just continues to wick out in front of it. Maybe, wow, this just accelerated to the downside. So it's now breaking trend. You've now broken the trend from VWAP. You broke the day trend a while ago when you failed the high, but you've broken the trend from these little like VWAP dips. Still think this can set up for a nice little short. Bull's on an absolute tear for everybody out there. It wouldn't surprise me if Bull halts a couple more times over there on Webull. But yeah, we'll see if we can get NVIDIA going here a little bit off that 99.4. But I'm not shorting 99.8 and throwing the stop at 99.4 when I think the entry deserves to be closer to here at 99. There it is.
All right, so yeah, we were still looking over here at Meta, obviously, as we've sort of talked a little bit about that. So I'm not going to do that anymore, but just looking here, it's an interesting one. SMCI today was dancing around to the upside. Now, you know what I actually want to look at was Tesla. Again, we have on the hat there today. The only, unless this Baba turns around, the only winning stock we have today is PLTR. And I don't even, this is now up 4%. Obviously, I wish we had Tesla on board as well. So that was the other name that I wanted to look at. As these longs, again, wow, okay, actually, Tesla's pulling back pretty good right now into VWAP. So this, I was going to say, if we're looking for longs, maybe this is the one right now. So this could be something to look at. 234, 234.50 and change coming in there. Yeah, there it is. There's a nice little bump back there to the upside. So, I've only been in these two names and looking for more, but for right now, that's Tesla, and I think that's a good buy. So we should put a bid here. It's 10:37. There's lots of time left before we're out of here anyways. We go over to the midday guys at 11, but 234.50 or so could be a decent trade. I know you're in Alibaba. Let me just check out what FXI is doing right now again. So there's FXI with a nice boom up there again. So I don't know if that short's going to work or not, but there goes FXI, and there goes the futures for me as well. The futures is a little bit of a different situation because we were able to get out this time down here, so it's not going to be as... Some of these shorts, like this one, we weren't able to get any out. This one we did, now we did again. So, we've made money back here on the TQQs. But, you know, if it does break that high, our new out is right there at 44.61, the recent high. So if that does come out, then that's where it's going to get out. So right now we're flat on this trade. If you don't like it, we're red on the day, but the damage is limited. So we're going to wait to see compared to what we normally do on these stocks. So, but again, if this goes up, then it goes up. So we're going to get stopped out once again on this trade, as I guess we had IBIT long, that was a tight stop. We had Palantir long, which obviously seems to have been a tight stop, as right now we get $2 winner, but that was only on a small piece. Good outs early on that, and then we got a little nervous, so we had to fade it, and then there it goes up to the upside as that keeps on going. Oh, the other name was Boeing, actually.
Wow, IBIT is like, oh my God.
160 right now for Boeing.
Boeing
Actually, no, not doing anything. I wanted to see, because it had that huge move early. I wanted to see if it was doing anything late. So, yeah. Nah.
No, if you're looking at
looks
anything,
like future's gonna get stopped out. Yeah.
if you're looking at anything crypto related, by the way, like BABA is right back into the same seller. It's at 114.12. Someone's sitting there. I keep showing the even dollar, but someone's at the 12-cent level. It's kind of a random price, but whatever. Trust me, they're there. It's not going to 20 where my stop is, but it's getting to 12 and kind of reversing. So a bit of a tight range. I mean, at least it's not doing this. Like, it's all green candles on the NASDAQ. It's like the only thing that I like short that isn't doing the let's just go higher and higher and higher nonsense, which is exactly what this market wants to do. Adam, no, that can't be right. It might be right. It is right. Is that an all-time high in Netflix? No, okay, not yet. Netflix is about to be at an all-time high in, I don't know, like, I see it as $5 or $6 away on Netflix. So I love me some Netflix. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm a little surprised. Just yesterday, my first thought was, should I sell some Netflix? And then I'm reminded, just literally yesterday, we were having the discussion about not selling all-time highs in your long-term plays with Michael Noss. And that's something, no, I also agree with it. It wasn't like it was his idea or anything. I also tend to agree with it. It's like, if the stock is trying to break out an all-time high, why would you pick that moment to decide to sell? If it's taking out that top, kind of let it ride. So NVIDIA broke trend, this trend in here from the dip into VWAP. I said I wanted to get it at 99. We actually sat on 99, don't usually do that. But you got to play outs in front of VWAP if you can get them. At least the way this market is going. Bitcoin's absolutely flying. I love that Netflix is going. I don't see us trading it. But the all-time high, I believe, is like 1,064 something, if everyone, for anyone that happens to be watching. What an unbelievable rocket ship of a day. Like, I wanted to hit this moon button, but I wasn't even on the page. It gets a moonshot, and I had one long that we tried, and it wasn't even good. It's just unfortunate. Like, there was only one long that perfectly set up for me, and I didn't get it. And that was the Nike off of that 56. And I'm not chasing Nike up here, and it's stopped moving. So I don't know what I do with it until it pulls back into VWAP. So NVIDIA on a trend break, BABA off this seller that's kind of chilling out there at 114.12. And we'll see if we get that VWAP pullback. Apple might make a run to $200, so that could always come back into play for me. Let me just double check. I'm on the bid right here on trying to get NVIDIA. Yeah, there's Apple. Hasn't broken 199 yet. But the way this market is going, why wouldn't we see a 200 test on Apple? Up 3% today. Nary a red candle on the future. So why not? We'll see.
All right. We're near that breaking spot for our trade, but you see we're still in these TQs. So let's give it a shot here. We're flat on this. We just shorted that 60 level. Let's see if this is the one that eventually wants to hold. It's just cannot believe the Nasdaq's up 2% here, and every time I look over, both of us just keep on digging into these shorts. But you know what? Maybe at some point it will go. And normally, if I keep doing this, I would be red like a lot, and we're not. So I feel pretty darn good about that. We just got a good cover though there at 45. Hopefully we can fall back in. Like again, it's like 5 cents, man. We don't want. Although this is going to be 10 cents worth of a hit if it does go up, because we are going to get stopped at 44.65. We are going to try to take a little bit of a winner. I mean, I'd love to get back into here into 44.30. I actually don't have any bids. I have a bid at 40s and then hopefully a little bit lower. I'm just waiting for some of these comments to come through from the Fed, and hopefully they'll be bad. And then we'll have a good idea of of what we're looking at. But for right now, the market just seems to want to go one way. Higher right now. So, all right, fine. We're waiting for 44.40. Yeah, I'm just waiting for like a negative story to hit. We haven't really had any today. And maybe there isn't anything coming. I mean, I don't know. The smart money always is smarter than us. So we'll wait to see where that goes. I'm looking for some dumb money to come in. And I guess that's what I am today, trying to hit these shorts. We only have 2 trades again. I don't know why I keep down talking what we're doing. Well, I'm relatively flat. I'm going to be red, though, until this settles out, which looks like it wants to settle out higher. All right, so you're already in those 2 shorts. I don't know what just happened to Baba, but I was going to, or no, it wasn't Baba.
It broke through that seller.
Okay, so.
Look, I'm just using really tight stops on Alibaba. I just don't feel like you can give anything room because the way I see it, if the shorts aren't working, I want to be able to have one long work. But I'm hating myself over, like I said, Nike, because that was a long setup. It was perfect. Like that Nike setup gave me everything that I wanted. So Baba's starting to come back in. I've only really traded, like I have 4 black charts up there. I've traded 4 stocks today. I haven't jumped into anything new that wasn't a part of the plan. That's just how it's going to be on a day like today. I don't want to jump too far away from anything. Apple, if there's something different, it would be maybe a Hertz or an Apple at the $200 level. So let's wait until we get either a defined trend. We're not getting a defined trend on Baba because I wasn't believing this move up, and I'm glad it's not breaking highs, but I'm essentially shorting 114 and giving it a tight stop because it doesn't want to give me a short at the high of the day. And it's that simple. NVIDIA, we did take one shot at NVIDIA earlier, but it's just like before. So we got some out there for the $0.50, we reloaded, and then it stopped out. I haven't reloaded this yet, but it was a similar play. We got 99s, only it doesn't give you the $0.50. It gives you the $0.25 and then VWAPs at the $0.50. So this is starting to work a little bit better. You got the topping tails into yesterday's high, so I want to still say shorting those pops. I see a lot of people, Nick W. included, mentioning how strong Coinbase is up 8%. It's all the crypto-related names are just super strong in here, but they're starting to look. Here, this is what I'm kind of seeing here. Like you're getting a very defined channel to the upside here on Coinbase. You're nowhere near resistance on it yet, but like whenever I see that, and there hasn't been a red candle, my first thought is which one of these things would I revert? Because when you haven't had a red candle, the first one can be good. Let's go over to Dara, talk a little bit about the USD, but the answer to that is my gut is always Mara. If there's going to be a curl, I would take a reversion on Mara, not Coinbase. Adara?
We're going to do a combined money talks and sector watch here as we head into the end of the morning session. Netflix up 7%, near all-time highs. This is earnings day 2. Again, all-time high around that 1064 level, currently trading around $1,060, so roughly $4 away, including spread. Then we have Palantir also to the upside. Meta, Microsoft, and Google holding relatively strong. Meta up 1% despite that unexplained drop we had from 494 to roughly 488. Then we have Electronics Technology, RTX to the downside on earnings day 1, but Broadcom, Nvidia, Apple holding strong. Finance green across the board. Retail trade green across the board. Health technologies, consumer non-durables, consumer services, energy, minerals, consumer durables, all looking really great here. Producer manufacturing, health services. It's really hard to find a weak sector here, guys, with the exception of the occasional red earnings name. Back to you. Oh, and also money talks, which I forgot about. It's fine. It's okay, it doesn't matter. I forgot.
Let's go find out what's for lunch. All right, what's for lunch today? Thank you, Adara, for that. Today, again, it is, yesterday was actually pretty good. That black pepper beef was actually pretty tasty there on the Chinese side of things. So today, though, not Chinese food. Grilled herb chicken. If you're long, you got some chicken dinner winners today. Grilled herb chicken with roasted baby potatoes. We got an email last night that it is not braised cabbage and carrots. It is going to be zucchini, I believe. Grilled zucchini today. Grilled herb chicken, roasted baby potatoes, grilled zucchini, and a chef's choice salad. Sounds pretty decent as the chef is in the building. And that's what's for lunch. All right. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy your lunch. We do have lunchtime trading, of course, with Joe and Sharif. And hopefully it will be a lot more successful than us today. But we're glad that you guys are here, man, watching us, listening to us, taking some of these ideas as we go. No, what's up, Airy Pages? Yeah, I prefer steak for sure than chicken. But again, we get whatever's on our salad.
They gave us steak once. We had steak here. It was
Exactly. Yeah, no, Rivian Millionaire, you do not need to figure out how to clone me. That would be dangerous for many, many reasons. And but that would be kind of cool. I bet my wife maybe would like that. So shout out to that. So thank you so much. Why don't you have Sean on like 5 copy accounts? I don't even know what that means. There are a lot of copy accounts out there on Twitter and on Instagram as I continue to post on there. So watch out for that, Mr. Rivian Millionaire. And thank you for the kind comments, my friend. That's very nice of you. And it would be nice. If I could be cloned, then I wouldn't feel as bad taking a day off. But I hate taking time off, and I basically have to be on my deathbed. These guys know that, man. Every time I take a time off, I'm like, oh, man, I don't really want to do it, but I got to, and in order to not get people sick around here. But that's fine. We're healthy as hell right now. All right, so I was just looking at AMD, and I feel like we're right about this one on the short because the market's ripping and AMD ain't. So we're going to short AMD at some point here, and I'm going to start it now, but realistically, 86.20 is where the 200 period is. So for me, that's going to be a decent spot there to start that short. And again, the futures are just off right now. Like they're really starting to grab the attention now as we continue to go higher. Now up 2.25 percentage points. So I mean, I hope that Nvidia short holds on, but I'm thinking the same thing here with AMD. It looks like we got some weakness in the chip space.
Yeah, well, it is working through VWAP, but I'm starting to. It's about what's next. I got to take Mara short. There's a seller at 1350. It's breaking a trend. It's got a lower high. Look at what Bitcoin is doing. Like Bitcoin is just unabated to the quarterback. Insert Cowboys joke that I usually say about their line right there. But if you're this strong in IBIT and this is all you're doing here in Mara, then I got to short this off this high at 13. It's a lower high at 1352. That's where the stop is going to go, but it's breaking the trend as we speak. If you're only going up in BTC, Coinbase, throw them all, whatever you want out there, and we're getting this crest, then I'm joining the short, and I'm going to give it to that wick high. Ideally, money fills would be in the 40 range if we could get them. So I think maybe a better entry, because at least I can work off the fact that Bitcoin is going strong, and this, for some reason, has a seller. So in small turnaround, should get a big move. And if no turnaround, then we're good to go. NVIDIA is finally working. We took an L early on NVIDIA, and now it's breaking down into VWAP. Ideally, I want to look for places to add to this. We were trying to get more at the 99, but now you're starting to fall back in. I can add to this Mara trade. And when I said insert Cowboys joke here. Oh, wow. What? Wait? Ramin is telling me to wait on my Cowboys joke. Okay, that's fine. The draft is coming up. The Dallas Cowboys need a lot of help, and I was going to say some encouraging things about the Dallas Cowboys. No, I wasn't.
You'll still be able to.
No, I wasn't going to say anything.
You'll still be able to.
The Dallas Cowboys. I was going to clown the Dallas Cowboys because that's what I do.
Yeah.
But apparently, I have to wait now.
Yeah,
not allowed to.
Yeah, all good. All right, so I mean, here we go. Finally. As you guys know, we talked about going short there on AMD. So there it goes. We do have that short. We took the VWAP short. We actually didn't get 86 and change there. So we'll wait for that as it's coming back in right now to the downside. So let's go AMD. We'll take a little bit of a fill there on that. And then we do take another fill on the TQs again as we continue to wait for that move down there on that. We want to make sure that Meta is also in the space right here, right now, coming back in again for that. So nice move down for Meta, holding out pretty good. Let's see if, and again, got a decent size here on AMD. Let's see if it can make that move down low as well. 85.60, hopefully that will come into play for us on advanced micro devices, and even lower, hopefully, for us on the TQs, because we're right back in the pocket where we need to be today after a couple rough trades early.
Yeah, that in the pocket is where Dak is when he gets sacked 5 times a game. But you know what? I just saw in the chat here, Sports and Stocks says the movie Zootopia 2 has better odds to win Best Picture than the Cowboys have to win the Super Bowl this year. Well, I don't know about that line specifically, but I can tell you at ProfitX, You can find the best lines out there. Make your own, of course, that's a big game. And we're here to talk, we talk trading all the time. And that's the best thing because flexibility matters when you're talking about sports betting. And flexibility is exactly what you get at ProfitX. You get an order book just like the financial markets, right? You pick your spot, customize the odds to fit your risk. Bid, ask, sit outside of the book, hope to get swept up at a fantastic price. So why settle on that one offered price if you don't have to? You can set it yourself. And the mobile interface makes it easy to play on the go. ProfitX, you call the shots anytime, anywhere. Use the code TraderTV to get our sign-up offer of 2% cash back up to $300. Scan that QR code you see out in front of you, and hey, why not? I'm pretty sure our guest would love to check out ProfitX and maybe lay something down on the Dallas Cowboys. Because, ultimately, I mean, you should try to bet on things that you think are going to happen and not make homer bets. But sometimes you just want to do it for a little bit of fun. So without further ado, we have our good friend from the OTC markets, Mr. Jeff Mendel. How's it going, brother?
Oh, God. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna say this right now. Axe-Stack, long Shador. Not going to happen, though.
No.
Axe-Stack, long Shador. Just not going to happen.
It's absolutely not going to happen. You guys are not getting Sanders. You guys are not. You don't have a bit of a plan of action. But what I can tell you, and we've been showing this the last couple of weeks here, especially when you're doing your research in the morning. These overnight markets, whether you're we talk about trading them all the time, but we're finding that even the levels that you're able to see, if you're just even charting them, can aid you in your trading for the next day. So you guys have OTC Moon. Tell us about how that's going because I think it's getting more and more crucial to be looking at these overnight markets.
Yeah, so Moon ATS last night, the most actively traded symbol on it was Tesla, and my guess is going to be more actively traded tonight, right? I think there's some earnings coming out later on it as well too, and so take a look at that name, but then also Tesla listed security, right? Electric car company, EV, but then also though, if you look at BYDDY, which is BYD, right? It's an ADR that trades on OTC as well too. It's up 6%, and so it also you take a look at DIDIY as well too. That's up almost 6% as well too, and so definitely lots of activity going on. Moon is
that you?
exclusively for listed
that was
securities.
A female's voice.
But you see some spillover into the over-the-counter names as well too, and so that along with symbols like Nvidia, and then ETFs like the SPY as well too, right? Lots of stuff to talk about, lots of activity going on here at OTC Markets.
Well, I don't want to gloss over you just said the SPY. I think that's one thing that everyone's sort of used to. Hey, let's look at whatever individual name might be moving in the pre-market, post-market trading, and now in the evenings, but the indices as well are going to be a potential big play. But I want to go back to, like you mentioned, these Chinese ADRs. And we've seen, look, you can't get around the tariff war. You can't get around the headlines back and forth. The fact that you have a liquid market to be able to make these plays matters so much more. Can you just talk a little bit about execution for everyone out there? Is it exactly the same for anyone that might not know as the regular day trading? Are there any differences in how you might get executed or trading? Or is it just full system go exactly the same as you would be used to in the open market?
So, so up until Moon, there was only one other venue where you could trade listed securities from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. Eastern time. And so now with Moon being added, now there's two venues. And so, our goal is to make it seem and feel as close to as possible as like you're trading during the daytime. But obviously, right there, there aren't any exchanges that are open, right? It's two ATSs that are operating independent of each other. But we're looking to make features and add features to make it so you, as a trader or an investor, can log into your account. You can see the market data, so where the bid and the offer is on Moon ATS. You can send in limit orders. Meaning you can put out a buy order to buy on the bid. You can put out an offer. An offer as well too. You can cross a spread, right? You can ping for liquidity. Really, what we want to do is what we're doing is make it so when you log into your app, you can see where the overnight market is. And we launched
I know, it's
in
crazy.
January. We have a few market makers in there that are providing liquidity. We have some retail firms that are in process of connecting, and some who've already connected. And I really think over the next month or so, we're going to see continued growth. And when I say continued growth, it's going to be by leaps and bounds, where as we bring more people in, getting more firms kind of into the overnight market that have never been there as well too. And then just gonna keep expanding the symbol universe as well too. Like I said, Moon is for listed securities. We also have launched OTC overnight. And so, when I first opened up the segment, right, we were talking about a mix of both names. And so at OTC Markets, you can come in and it's like a one-stop shop over our various platforms to buy and sell U.S. equities overnight. And a lot of those names on the over-the-counter side are actually names that are trading locally elsewhere in the world at that time, right? And so all the names that I just mentioned, right? DIDIY, DD, BYD, which is BYDDY, right? Then Tencent, and then then in Europe you have Roche and Adidas and Nestle and Louis Vuitton. Goes back to just being that one kind of one-stop shop for you to actually go in there and buy and sell names.
Oh, Jeffrey, it was nice seeing you last week. I hope you're enjoying the day there today. What's the weather like? It looks nice outside over there.
It's not bad, man. I should be out on the golf course probably, right?
I mean, I agree with that one right there. I was actually been at the rink a lot lately, but baseball season started. I just wanted to show the website because you were going over a lot of those names, and I just think it's so easy to go over to OTC Markets. It's right here, otcmarkets.com/market activity. You can get it right back up here, current market, and then what you're going to look for are all of the names, and then I like to sort it, just a little bit of a pro tip right here, sort it by trades, not by share volume. That way you can see the active names that are going through, because sometimes you have such small names that will trade millions and millions of shares that are still accessible by many prop firms, but I like to sort it by trades. And there you talked about DD coming through again, and there's your Tencent, and there's BYDD, as well as Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. I've been looking at a little bit of that today, although that's been in a pretty tight range. Just there's something for everybody, Jeff, whether or not you're looking, and I'll show you here on Fannie Mae today, FNMA. I've made just a few Load. I just went in and out here, scalped for a quick little penny. One time there, Jeff. Twice, actually. 26 to 25. But again, depending on the style of trade you're doing, lots of opportunities here, and they could be found, obviously, on that website. So I just wanted to say to everybody, that's a good spot to look, because the volume, TCEHY, on some of these is great. Look at the liquidity available here. 5,000 shares, 1 cent spread. So very easy, simple to trade, and most brokerages will have it. So I want to just direct everybody's attention over to that website for that. And any other sort of tips? I mean, you just went over some of those names. I think looking at the European markets overnight, checking out what's going on with Moon and whatnot, but definitely the website. I have it up. It's bookmarked. It's one of my go-to things for your market.
Yeah, another one that we didn't mention, Luckin Coffee, right? LKNCY, Nintendo, NTDOI. Tons of names out there, tons of international names out there to trade, during regular market hours, also overnight on the OTC side, and then, just throwing in the listed names as well too. So, great shout out, great way to kind of mesh everything together as well too. Right? And so, from our perspective, it's really just kind of adding to what we're already doing with, trading global names, or, close to around the clock, and also bringing in a bunch of U.S. names as well too, to make it so it's easier for, someone who is, logging in. It's their daytime as well too, and so it's a lot easier for people to log in, look, see what's out there, see where stocks are trading, and go in and buy something or sell something, when they see fit.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Over 11 o'clock right now. And I mean, the OTC market has played such a big role as well in the crypto space, having those GBTCs to begin with, ETH and all of that, and looking to obviously add, more names and everything every single day. So I want to make sure that, keep sending us those emails if there's anything hot, if there's anything you want us to talk about, any new listings, anything like that. If some companies are coming down to your exchange, make sure you let us know, and we'll let the people, the fine viewers of Trader TV Live. Anything you want to say to Neil before we go? I mean, I don't know if there's Buffalo Bill action on your mind or anything about that, because ain't no one going to say nothing about my Packers. So any thoughts about the Cowboys? Wait a minute. Do they play each other this year?
I don't think so. No, I don't think we play each other this year. Look, obviously, if we did play, the next time we play each other, regardless of the year, Jeff, I'm sure we'll make a bet. I do wish you guys luck in the draft.
That's gonna be great. I love watching the draft.
I love the NFL draft. I hope you guys can figure out a solution. Because I think that what's working, what's happened, to me,
it's Jerry's world, baby.
Just to bring it back to trading, I think this whole you're gonna win with Dak and this roster is constructed is kind of like thinking the short was good today.
It's valid.
Oh shoot,
we lost him. We lost his volume.
Okay, I think
all right, that's okay.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jeff, our good friend Jeff Bendel from OTC. I appreciate you. Everyone, check out Moon and the Aftermarket Trading. But thanks to Jeff for coming on.
See you, Jeff. All right, great job there. We did lose his communication there, but
that wasn't intentional or anything.
Yeah, get it all figured out. Yeah, no, we didn't cut his mic there. Thank you to everybody, and it's gonna be the midday show. So let's wait to see what happens. Nasdaq now up 2.5%. I would say look for some of these trades to fade back out, but hey, man, the afternoon is the afternoon, and as we wait for some news, you got the best team alive right now. You got Adara, you got Sharif, you got Joe. It's going to be good trading, although our shorts got baked, but at least they're not half baked. They're like fully baked, and
they got baked like apple pie.
Yeah, or baked like people were 2 days ago.
And everybody likes pie.
Most people like pie. All right, we'll see you guys later, Joe and Sharif.
Come on, Joe. Come on, Joe.
Yeah, that apple pie joke is not